to NLC News. I'm Middlecott. If you find any of the following stories humorous, please contact a licensed medical professional immediately. Nord have announced that they're going to be starting a new jungler in their match versus Los Ratones after Noe returns home from Japan with a Nami body pillow. The move has sparked chaos within the ranks of Nord as Inax, who is yet to finish the Arlong Park arc of One Piece, questioned why the team would want to have such a traitorous individual joining them for such an important game. Vizichachi also voiced concerns over Nami's mechanical abilities, mentioning that she's got no competitive League of Legends history and that she's also a body pillow, meaning she does not possess the hands or limbs of any sort that players typically use to play League of Legends. Ruddy Sak Peng has also weighed in on the situation, approaching Nord coaching staff, saying that Miyako Shikimori from Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie would have been a much better fit, given her protective attitude and skills as a marksman, which would have translated into strong Kindred and Twitch jungle gameplay. Keir Starmer has announced an unprecedented increase in police spending in preparation for the upcoming Bullsack derby between Ruddy Sack and Bulldog Esports. The British Prime Minister plans to get 20,000 new officers onto the streets of Britain over the course of the next week to combat expected fan violence ahead of the fixture. Current projections anticipate extensive disruption as a result of the match, with dozens potentially being banned from the NLC Twitch chat for swearing, as well as isolated incidents of fans being told to keep it down up there or else I'm unplugging the computer by their parents. A spokesperson for the government has released a statement earlier saying that the government is strongly committed to taking overambitious, poorly conceived and rushed action to address an issue they fundamentally do not understand. Confusion abounds in the Verdant camp after drafting a typical Los Ratones composition in their recent playoff match didn't result in the enemy nexus spontaneously combusting. The doubts regarding the team comp emerged after loading into Game 3 versus the Ruddy Sack, where players were surprised to find that they had to walk to lane and CS instead of immediately being greeted by a victory screen. Verdant's coaching staff have been racking their brains in an attempt to find the secret to LR's success, with the pedigree of the players immediately dismissed as the reason, since Perks had a nice looking Leaguepedia, but he couldn't handle the high level competition of the NLC. Possible solutions floated by the organisation include renaming all of their players to match Los Ratones and paying for Obstinatus to have his arms covered in tattoos. That's it from us here at NLC News. I've been Middlecott. For God's sake, go outside and get some fresh air. It's been 3 days since you left your room. We'll see you next week.
welcome back to Arozzi Northern League of Legends Championship 2025 Spring Split Playoffs Lower Bracket Elimination Day. My name is Lashana Maya. That was a long sentence. And I will be your host for the day. So as I told you, whoever loses today on this best of 5 Fearless Draft will be promoted to viewer. That's the way we say it. And their journey will be actually quite short. With this in mind, I needed this to step in and help me understand all that is going today. So, Treble and Fox, help me. Hello.
Hello. Happy to be here and not muted. Fox, are you muted?
Yes.
He's not muted. Pop.
I don't think so. No. I love you've got a G on your chest. What does the G stand for?
Georgia.
Maybe it's
Goat.
the G in your name. G Trouble
No.
Inc. What does that stand for?
Goat.
Gangster? Goat? Gotcha.
Oh, not the self-glaze. Okay, move on.
I need one. I now feel sad. I don't feel included in this task anymore. Well, welcome to this one. It's gonna be Rich Gang versus DMG. Whoever loses is gone on the Fearless Draft best of 5. Are you ready for this one before we start the show? How are you feeling? Is it time? Let's do this.
I mean, okay. This is so much fun because both teams that we have today, lives on the line, best of 5. I'm expecting full 5 games. And I want to see the Sorakas come out by game 5. I want to see Zax come out. I want the whole shebang.
All right, yeah. First best of 5 in spring for NLC. So yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, but before we do that, we need to understand what happened in previous week. What?
Me and Foxy are matching. I just realized.
Yes, that's why I was saying.
Rip.
You know.
Okay.
I don't.
Go on.
Somebody help.
Thank you, producers.
Well, what happened previously? LR took down DMG. That's
no
why
way
they played
we're
today.
starting with this play.
Yeah.
On Foxy.
Well, yeah, that was an interesting play right there. It was an interesting series, to be honest. Game 1 wasn't quite as competitive as we would like to see, but Game 2 certainly was. This is the Game 2 that you're watching here. Bucci on that Ola, doing some beautiful things. But obviously, the Goliath that is Los Ratones was just a little too much to overcome.
And actually, I found it really interesting that we saw the whole top side of the bracket. I don't think we necessarily had like any upsets. Like Nord won pretty easily that game. Same for Los Ratones. But the other games were super fun because Bulldog Esports right here, we said that we wanted to see them being super clean, and they actually delivered in this particular series. I feel like Exofang and Kasing were lane kingdoming down bot lane. We got to see Miatek as well, more his aggro picks taking control of the lane. So Bulldog Esports ramping up as we go through the playoffs.
I love Bulldog, man. They're one of the few teams here in the NLC that have kept their whole roster. A lot of new teams, new lineups, new faces, and Ruddy Sack Verdant is a good example of that. Lots of new faces in this one, and to be honest, lots of different expectations as well coming into this series. I think this is going to be the closest series, at least from my perspective, expecting in the upper bracket, and it was close. It was close. You know, Ruddy Sack just about coming away with that one. But yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of heroic plays and a lot of heroic players here in the NLC in this upper bracket.
Yeah, the fun part about the whole Verdant versus Radisac, it also answered our question about who's going to go up against Los Ratones, because Verdant were in the Los Ratones group, and they didn't seem that competitive versus them, even though we did have them as their number 1 opponents. But right now, I see 3 of them, Nord, Bulldog Esports, Radisac, all ready to go up against Los Ratones.
It'll be next week where we actually have LR versus Nord. It's a rematch from Winter Finals. Winter Finals, it was a clean 3-0. Will it happen again? Nord are practicing as much as they can, and they got Yankos on the jungle right now. On the bottom part, it's going to be Bulldog versus the Ruddy Sack. I mean, that's one of those matches where a lot of expectations, at least from my point of view. I really, really want to see that one. But Bulldog are looking extremely fierce. So I don't know if you have any saying regarding those cities or any expectations.
If I'm not wrong, Bulldog Esports kicked out Radisac to the lower bracket, and then once Bulldog Esports got kicked down to the lower bracket, they eliminated Radisac in the previous split. So that is the double events piling up for them, up to them to take it back.
Hell yeah. Love a bit of grudge match already here in the NLC.
That was we're not done with you, buddy. Let's go down to the lower bracket and take you out just to make sure you're out of the equation. So let's see what happens on Spring Split. But for today, though, that's what we need to take into consideration. I know we make some predictions. Sometimes we're just the same. But today, I know there's a little bit of a spice in there. Trouble and Fox, you both went 3-1. Solari is hoping for 5 games. Me and Initialize, we're going for the throat. So I'd like to get your point of view on why do you think, before we go down to the nitty gritty, like to understand this and actually analyze the match, why do you think this is going to be a 3-1?
I'm gonna go with one word. Renewal, rejuvenation, rebirth. The youngler from Rich Gang has got enough in his trunk to pull out just at least one game.
Pull out one game?
At least one. Look, I'm talking hardcore, hardstyle 1v9. That's what I'm talking. Aside from that, I think DMG's got this in the bag. But yeah, that man, no. he can do bits, he can do bobs, and I think he's going to pull it out today.
I feel like the main argument for me is that even though Rich Gang have showed us really good and a lot of bad, I feel like they still need to stabilize, and DMG have a lot to go off of. Their first game in playoffs was Los Ratones, and they still showed some really great qualities. So going up against a Rich Gang that's been struggling throughout the entire sitting stage and now finding themselves in what potentially could be their last best off in these playoffs, I feel like playing up against DMG would be a very tough task.
Do or die, but it's also time for you getting the event of Leagues Disrupt. Keep in mind, I'm gonna say this out loud, this is not only NLC finals, it's gonna be way bigger. We have music, we have content creators, we have meet and greets. You can play while you are a spectator, and I'll talk to you as we go by. There are a lot of surprises, but another surprise is if you want a ticket for Sunday, your only option right now is to buy the weekend ticket, because Sunday is gone. So you have to step up. Use that QR code to participate on Leagues Disrupt. We're flying into Copenhagen. The only downside, we have to deal with Duckling. But it's part of the team, man. It's part of the contract. We love him. We love him. I actually love him. But Foxtrot and Troubling. I gotta talk this one. Foxtrot, you believe you're the GOAT of the thing we usually do on pre-show. I'm not gonna say it because I know it starts off as soon as I say the words. So we cooked a new one. This is new. I'm just waiting for the drop. This is welcome
Is it rigged?
to the new game show. Who am I? Player edition.
Player edition?
Oh, that was really on cue. Thank you. Not rehearsed, by the way. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna play a replay. There's no names. And you have to tell me who's the individual making that play. We have
I'm opening Wiki as we speak, by the way. I'm literally opening Wiki as we speak.
Be fast. Obviously, at the end of the play, I'll provide you with some options you can pick from. The first one to raise the hand will get the answer.
It's multiple choice. Okay, it's multiple choice.
Multiple
That's
choice.
good. That's good. That's good.
Let's
That's good.
go,
Okay.
production. Play number 1. Who's playing Rise? Oh, we're showcasing ourselves as well. There's a Rise. Look at him. Look at the plays. Look at the moves. So far, so good. But then, we're all going on the journey.
Oh, man.
I know.
Oh, we have to let it end. I'm looking at you, Trouble. She's about to raise her hand. Who's playing? Let him die. There you go. Who's playing Rise? Is it Cayman, Bisgard, Bowser, Ping? Trouble.
It's Cayman.
I think it's Cayman.
There you go. You want to log it in? You want to log it in?
Yeah.
Hey, Foxtrot, do you want to give an option, a different option?
Well, I think it's Cayman too, but sure, I'll say it's Peng. I'll just say it's Peng.
Actually. Okay, sorry. My bad. It's not Cayman. It's 100% not Cayman. It's Bisgard. It's Bisgard.
Oh, it's
Cayman
Bisgard.
is on the Ari. Cayman is on the Ari. It's Bisgard.
You know what? Trouble, you got it. Wrong.
What?
It's Ping.
Oh, let's go. Honestly, I'm just too good at these, man. I'm
You
too
got
good.
it right without even wanting to be right. I don't know.
I generally thought it was game.
Yeah, this was on the previous series where he just dives and rise and believes
Oh,
like, hey, I'm
mate.
gonna make the play, and he actually makes a play. Not for his team though. First point goes somehow for Foxtrot. I don't know how this happened. Let's go for the second play. Let's go production. Who's the
the
rail
rail
that
that's-
saved it?
Ooh,
Who's
I
that
recognize
Pokemon?
this. I recognize this.
Look at the horse.
Yeah.
Cha-ching!
Yeah. I've cast this. I cast this. Who was this?
Oh, this is even worse then. If you don't know who this is when you casted it, is it Obstinatus, Kamski, Wendell, or Baus?
Baus, what is he doing there?
Why I seeing all of these answers, bro?
On the previous play,
hell no.
right?
Okay,
Baus was
okay.
there as well.
I think it's.
Okay.
I think it's B Calm Sky.
Okay, Trouble. Who do you wanna? Who do you want?
I think it's Kamsky as well, but I have to say a different one, so I'll go with Obstinatus. I can't say the same one, can I?
And no. The answer is Foxtrot. I don't know, man. I don't know. How do you do this? It is Wendell.
What?
Wendell was my second guess. Yeah,
We
I should have done that.
1 point so
Oh,
far
dear.
for Foxtrot. Give me the third one. This is a hard one. No, it's not. Who is the Vi?
Oh god.
Proxing, waiting,
Yeah.
and there's a magic trick of bim bam boom boom. See ya, my boss.
I mean, bruh, that damage.
Bruh.
That's a certain build, and that means it's a certain
There's
player,
a
no?
certain build. Who's
Yeah.
the Vi? Trouble, raise the hands, and let's see the options. Lulash, Yankus, Velia, or Baus.
Okay, actually, I don't remember in this game if it was Baus or Velia, but because
That's a good
Azir
shout,
is level
actually.
15 here on the screen, I think it's going to be C Velia.
Ooh.
You
Yeah,
wanna
I think
look
I
at
might.
it?
Okay,
I
I'll say Baus, but I think you're right. I think this is a bait. I think this is a bait. They made you
Because
think
Kaisa
it's...
did not die one shot. Kaisa also
Yeah.
did not die one shot, so
Yeah.
and he
Yes.
would
I
be
mean,
level
Vi is just a
14.
high damage champion.
Is-
Velia.
It is Velia. It is Velia. The dead giveaway would be the little fox that's behind the Vi, which is the jungler item.
Also the level, like Baus,
yeah.
Baus is usually like same level as the solo laners, right? Or above them, so it
Top
wouldn't be
lane
under
doesn't
level
have
here.
the smite. I don't know, Baus. I don't know. Baus is the goat, so maybe that. Okay, fourth one. From hero to zero.
Oh no,
Who's
that Pokemon.
the one playing Mundo? Look at this.
I know who was playing Vel'Koz.
But do you
And I
know
know-
this though? Look at
I do.
this.
I do.
Look at this. This is glorious. This is beautiful. Boom. Takes down the turrets. And then he somehow is capable of doing what he thought he would do and misses the turret.
Oops.
Who is this? Dandem, Velia, Noodle, or Lulas?
I'm gonna
I
guess.
thought you knew. I thought you knew,
I'm gonna
Trouble.
guess this is Noodle.
Trouble.
I wanna say it's Dandom. Yeah, I think it's Dandom.
There you go. It's locked in. Either Noodle or Dandem. Do you know the answer, chat? Type it in
It's
because
not-
they're
it's not
both
Dandem.
wrong.
I know.
Wait,
Trouble's
wait,
wrong.
wait.
Wait.
If that was the Vel'Koz into Azir,
Uh-huh.
that was
Uh-huh.
that was diverse picking Azir into Nemesis. So technically
Uh-huh.
that should be Velia. That should be Velia.
I gotta give you a part because that was too good of a correction.
good.
So yes, it is B. Velia. That was beautiful. Now I gotta give it a point, which means it's tied up, and the last one is gonna decide everything. Fifth and last one, production. Can we do it? Lima, Oscar Lima.
Lima,
Wait.
Oscar Lima.
Who's playing Corky? So far, so good, correct? There's nothing wrong with this play. He's trying his best. Corky's doing what Corky's good at doing. Oh, no.
he dies, and then he dies too.
He
Oh,
gets
no.
knocked by Atakan. I remember
Oh,
this.
wait,
I
what are
cast
you
this
doing?
as well.
Lima, Oscar Lima. What a...
He sits in his bush and he gets kited towards him. Yeah. Yeah. Who was that, bro? Who was that? I think. Oh, I know. It's right. It's right.
Penny still boss. Okay, tell me.
Is it right? Was it Raya? I think it was Raya. Raya. I think it's A. Or was it? I don't know who it was.
Yes.
I watched this happen.
Okay. I want to say it's Fatesky, because Golden Penny is the misfortune, I believe. So I want to say it's Fatesky.
It's a lock in for Fatesky. Foxdrop, this is the deciding one. Trouble never won a game versus you. This could be it. Who do you think?
He said Rye. He already picked.
I said A. Yeah,
it's locked in. It's locked in.
Oh no.
One of you just won. So one of you is correct. The answer is... Show it. Fatesky Trouble!
Right, how did I get them wrong? I was there. I don't remember these ones at all, dude. That's tragic.
You know why? It couldn't be Rye on the Corki because his mid laner is there, so...
It's a rough one. I know, Trouble. Congratulations, you just won the game show, which means you get a free pastry as soon as you get to Copenhagen for the League's Disrupt.
To be fair, I'll just say, Trouble plays it. She plays it cool here online, but once we got offline at EMEA Masters, she was bagging them left, right, and center. She went home with like 3 t-shirts, a beret, a tart. She was like, she was full. She was sorted.
There you go. This is the game show just to warm things up and to keep you reminded back at home of the plays we had. If you didn't see anything, just go onto a VOD or even our YouTube channel. Keep that in mind. But today, it's going to be Rich Gang versus DMG. And so far, DMG is looking hot. What is happening with Rich Gang? So you know what we did? We put 2 players face to face to understand what we can expect from this series. It's not beautiful, but it's cool. Take a look. Hello everyone, we finally hit the mark when it's you lose, you're gone. It's Rich Gang versus DMG. It's gonna be a lovely one. Welcome Fatesky, Renewal as well. This is the first time you're gonna meet within the Rift. You have to defeat the other one to survive. So how are you feeling to begin with?
Really good, huh? I'm really good. Really excited for the game.
I'm feeling great. And I'm gonna feel even better after the match.
Oh, you're getting a little bit of spice. So talking about spice, Renewal, what is happening with Rich Gang? It was a rough mark, wasn't it, to begin with?
Yeah, we had some hard time to find our identity, kinda, like for the first officials games, because we had a really good win streak and overall good scrims. We just have hard time to put it in officials. But overall, I think we fixed some issues that we have, that we had. I mean, and now we are ready for today. So.
Okay, so we can expect something different, Fatesky. I mean, aside from Bucci, the team is looking wonderful. You know, we always go for Bucci. You know, but you had to face LR to begin with. But you did show signs that this team can be dangerous. So when you look into Rich Gang, what are you expecting today?
I mean, I don't know how to really put this. I think the most kind way I can put it is that we view these guys as bums, but bums that we kind of have to take serious in a way, you know?
I mean, you can't flex. You can't flex with what you did also. But yeah, no, we changed a lot of things, so you will be surprised. I think, no joke.
Okay, so this is interesting. There's changes from both teams. Renewal, when we talk about those changes, as a viewer, I'm logging in, I'm like, who's Rich Gang? Where should I be looking forward? And what is the lane I should be concerned about for today?
I think the B1s were really always the same, but we changed it, so we will have some new spicy picks, I think. And overall, yeah, counter matchups and stuff, we trained a lot of picks, so be prepared about that because it's fearless today. So yeah, we have to cook some stuff.
Fatesky, I'll throw you a different one. When we look into the team of DMG through groups, whenever they play for bot, kind of dominate. Like, I'm not saying it's you, I'm just saying the combo just works wonderful. When you play for top, for Bucci, I mean, you lost versus LR. I don't know if it's like a thing, but is the team playing more towards the bot? Are you the one that is going to be carrying the games? What can I expect from DMG today?
No, I mean, I think you said it best. When we play to bot, we win, and it is me. You know, like, no ego there, like you said it, but it is me. And this comes, you know, we work well together, and like, yeah, we take care of business when we get the resources.
Renewal, you are the jungler, man. If you want to camp someone, you know where to camp. It's bots.
Yeah.
I've heard something about Pantheon being OP, but you're only allowed to pick him once. So, with that in mind, Renewal, at the end of the day, what is going to be the score?
It will be 3-0. I tell you, the 3-0 and really fast.
Okay, really fast. Feitsky, do you agree?
I think this guy is lying so hard his pants are on fire. This guy is sitting here, oh, we've practiced so many champs for Fearless. Why would you practice so many champs if you're gonna 3-0 us? This guy is just nervous.
That's true, actually.
Feitsky, what do you think is going to be the score at the end of the day?
What do I think is gonna be the score? It's a great question. I mean,
You have Bucci.
we do have Bucci, and Bucci, he can do some stuff. I think it could either be a 3-0, 3-1, or 3-2. But either way, it's going to be a DMG win. That much I'm sure of.
Hey, I love the confidence. Any parting words from each of you? Renewal, do you want to say anything to say goodbye, Feitsky, as well?
Yeah, we didn't really prepare against you, to be honest. I didn't even see your profiles. We were prepared for like next BO5 and for the rest of the competition. So yeah, it's gonna be a 3-0 fast. We didn't even train a lot against you, so it's OG.
This is concerning, Feitsky.
Nah, I don't think so. These guys just did the prep work for us. Like, you can just send it over when we're done. We'll take it from here, buddy.
Thank you so much for both of you. Best of luck within the Rift. This is going to be cinema. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
This has got to be the best angle I've seen on the interview, to be honest.
That was good.
But,
That was
I
good.
mean, Rich Gang told us, at least on the interview, we've been prepping a lot more. Scrims are going well as well. We are bringing new champions.
Oh, that's
we
not a
just
good thing.
needed time. It's not a good thing.
Scream. Every time you hear pro players say scrims are going well, cannot wait for officials, it's like, oh no.
Yeah,
True.
that's actually a thing. That's a curse. That's a curse. But Renewal, I mean, I think he could be the highlight of the team so far from what we have. There you go. Rich Gang versus DMG. Now I have to introduce the match. There you go. This is the match for today. Best of 5 Fearless Draft. Keep that in mind. But when we look into Rich Gang, is Renewal the thing? Is Renewal him? Is it him?
Yeah, Renewal is him. I think when he got into Rich Gang, I feel like he is the guy who kind of makes everything work for them, kind of makes everything take. I call it the main cog in the machine. And I feel like every single time I've seen Rich Gang do really well, Renewal has lanes of priority to play through. He primarily plays a lot of aggressive champions in the jungle as well that can really shine through priority lanes and early game shenanigans.
Renewal's been so good, especially in early game champions as well. Like when he's able to heavy gank, like he sets up Rich Gang for success. They haven't been able to take that success and actually do too much with it just yet, right? But
Kind
they've
of like
had
water.
time.
Okay, listen.
can-
It's like
okay,
water,
okay.
right? They have their hands. Oh no, there's a graphic now. Okay, I'll show after.
Okay. What about this graphic is wet to you, Georgia?
Okay. Okay. I don't know about what Fox has said. But look at the type of champions that Renewal likes to play. They like to brawl, they like to fight, they like to skirmish, they like to get ahead in the early game, they like to play up in your face. And this is not necessarily the champion pool that he has showed in the NLC so far. This is his all-time champion pool. This is his preferred champions that he likes to play. And they all scream skirmishes to me. And this is why it's so important to give him those lanes of priority so that he can then give back to his team. I'll explain about the water.
Okay, while we wait for Georgia to update us on the hydration situation, I would like to echo her sentiments, of course. Like, look at those champions, man. They all jump in, they all go hard, they all have a lot of early aggression as well. And I think a great way to summarize it was his game on the Pantheon, his most played champion that he has delivered so far. And yeah, who was he playing against? He was absolutely demolishing Chaos. Yeah. It was beautiful stuff. He was all over the map on that Pantheon, making these plays happen, getting those ganks off, often sacrifices his farm in order to do it. But I honestly, like, it's worth it. He gets his team kills, he makes plays with his team, and he does set them up for success. As you can see here, in that previous game, he was like 5-1, right? And yeah, just always in the right place at the right time. Very good at his early game plays.
Hey, look, this is what the clip was from, remember? Diverse on Vel'Koz versus Nemesis on Azir. There we go. Okay. But I feel like, apart from the fact that he's the fire starter, basically, for Rich Gang, is the fact that in a lot of these games, he had a lot of knowledge as in where to be and what to be, and particularly in the first clip over there was a Caitlyn lane. You shut that down early on, you take the flash off of Caitlyn, and suddenly the Caitlyn cannot play the game. So it's about the knowledge that he has on how to play through those very early game ganks. Now, the water that I want to talk about before all the graphics just start raining into this stream, no puns intended right here, is that this is
very much
this is renewal right here, right? His team is like standing like this with fingers opened up, right? And he's trying to give them water, and the water just starts sipping down. It just doesn't stay there. He has to teach them how to properly close their hands so that the water can stay inside. And these are the win conditions. He gives them the win cons. Now they need to understand how to hold on to them tight.
So he's the umbrella. Okay, so where should the rain and the water go to? Like, which players?
No, he's the water, he's the rain. He's raining down. They need to
he's
just
the
hold
rain.
it.
So
Yes,
who's the
you need to
umbrella?
hold it.
Like, who's going to actually?
There's no umbrella. This is just a scoop.
I mean, to be
They
fair,
hold in
his
a bowl,
team's
it's
kind of
scoop.
like his whole team's like an umbrella because he's giving them
Yeah.
water and they're just it's just going. They're not collecting it. It's just gone. It's gone. Like that's
but
it.
What I wanted to understand is where should be the line that usually we look into mid lane when we talk about the junglers, like that pair. The support usually helps them as well. And when we look into the mid lane of Rich Gang, maybe we can talk a little bit about it, because I know Diverse is someone that is capable of dealing the damage, even though he doesn't stay alive for that long. So maybe that should be the tell me.
Love
Okay.
that. What a setup.
I mean, okay. Jokes aside, Diverse has had a really rough split so far, and he has been the target for a lot of teams. He has had some whoopsies. He started without using flash, so it has been a rough split. However, he is top damage for his team, even while being the highest deaths in his team as well, and number 2 overall for seeding stage. So, as you can see, for seeding stage, he's number 8 overall in damage dealt right there. So he does a lot. I feel like maybe his team, primarily support and jungle, they need to play a little bit around him just to make sure that he stays as safe as possible. It's not always just a one-man job, fair enough. Like if he's having a hard lane or a tough split, it's fine. But the help that he receives from his team should be enough to sort of keep him afloat for the early game.
That could be the question, you know, can Rich Gang play around Diverse enough to kind of set him up to let him do what he wants to do? Is that because as you're saying there, Georgia, like he has struggled a little bit, but there's certainly some potential there, and now that they've had time, the Rich Gang's had time to come back and to really shore things up, as Renewal was suggesting in that interview, maybe we'll see a different level of Diverse, and to be honest, that could just be the piece needed to really turn Rich Gang around.
Yeah, Renewal's talking about it, and when we put both junglers head to head and the way they play on the side of the MG, I mean, it brings a lot. And the champion pool is so different between these junglers as well. So when you go into the fearless draft mode, I feel like this is interesting.
I actually believe the champion pools are very similar. Right here, we only have like what
okay.
they've primarily played in the NLC. But I feel like when I looked at Dandom's champion pool, what he was bringing from tier 2 leagues, this guy is super aggro. He has Jarvans, he has Dianas, he has Lilias, he has things that wanna play up in your face. And I feel like what he's been able to showcase so far is kind of more like a tame version of that, because he has like other lanes that can really shine. Sometimes you gotta deem the jungler, give them what they deserve basically, and just let them be on a leash for you.
So let's talk about DMG. We already have an image from Rich Gang. We were looking to this team. I feel like DMG is a really powerful team. I know they lost versus LR, but they brought a lot of signs of improvement, even within the cities itself. It was only a BO3 to begin with, so you only have like 2 games. That was Rich Gang, but we're talking about DMG. You have Bucci, you like everything. Even the drafts themselves could be a way to telltale how they play, correct?
There we
There you
are.
go.
Those are the faces we want to see. DMG, exactly as you mentioned, Archer. They've shown us some good stuff, honestly. Yes, they're not doing too hot overall. 2 wins and 6 losses so far in the NLC. But honestly, I'm just going to say that series versus Los Ratones wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible, right? And that's an incredibly hard team to even put a dent against, especially their game 2. It was, it was decent. And the thing is with DMG, like when you look at their okay, sick. We're just in the picks and bans. Let's go. So yeah, DMG have a lot of varied strategies that they can play through. It was top side focused against Los Ratones, right? Bucci was getting a lot of focus. Renekton and the Olaf, Dandon playing towards him. Is that going to be the answer this time around for DMG as well? Or will they play through Fateski, which they did a lot more of in the seeding stage?
Ooh. Talking about the Lilia, gets taken away by Ritzgang, actually played today by Kanavi to absolute perfection, so I don't blame them. If there is somebody that can play that Lilia and be facilitated for, I think it's a very, very dangerous champion to leave open. However, a lot of like the super OP things, like the Wen, the Rumble, Varus potentially could be left open.
Varus is my question.
Gwen.
What else do you ban? Because there's a lot of attention towards the jungle. There you go. Varus is removed. Faitski was talking about 80 carries, that a champion pool for 80 carry is not that big. When you look into the jungle, is Azir instantly.
Whoa. Okay. Right. So that's the Azir lock-in for Diverse. All right, I think that's a pretty chill champion to stick in the mid lane. You can play it blind into a few matchups, and they're kind of saying, all right, Diverse, you just stay there, stay in mid, you chill, you do your thing. We'll try and make things happen around you. The question is, does Danum get stuck on Vi duty here as a response? I think Vi is pretty good into Azir as well, and oh my goodness, this poor man has played endless games of Vi. Endless games of Vi. I feel really bad for him. Unless this is like Atelier jungle and Vi top, Bucci gang, Vi, I don't think that's going to happen. But, hey, yeah, maybe.
I love the response right here. I think there should be a Zinzao somewhere in between as well. I feel like he's a fantastic champion to go up against Vi. Pairs up nicely with Azir as well. One of the safest kind of options that you have in the jungle, and usually goes up against the whole Talia Vi combo that you have in the early game. I feel like right here for Rich Gang, the name of the game is let's scale into the late game and then use that scaling from the Azir and from the Corki. So something to bridge usually your early game will be something like a jungler. Maybe you can play towards the top side of the map again. Rumble's still open and no, it's like a Sunday. It's like a Sunday.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm
Does
traumatized.
Bucci play it though? Bucci needs to play that champion to begin with now for the Rumble specifically.
Yeah,
And
okay.
is he gonna pick the Renekton again?
I feel like, oh man, it probably is just a Renekton angle, I would say, for Bucci here. I would say so. It's going to be the Gnar instead.
Oh.
All right, a little bit more pressure you're able to put down on the Cassante, especially since the Cassante changes. That Gnar Cassante matchup is actually kind of tough for Cassante. He's still cool. He's still chilling pretty much. The question really becomes now, what is Fateski going to do bot side into Rhythm's Corki, right? So we've already seen one ADC ban, one ADC pick. Rich Gang will most likely try to pinch that pool away from him, and in doing so, really make it kind of tough to pick a champion that can put a dent into the front line of that Conan Cassante.
I
If you
actually
do
want
have
to
the
see right
time,
here.
tell me. Yeah.
Oh, I actually want to see here if DMG are going to slam Kai'Sa Nico. He has been very prominent in the LPL as well. He gains a lot of lane prio, especially versus champions like the Corki that are really, really strong into the Kai'Sa. And right here, I dislike everything about Rich Gang's composition. There is absolutely zero bridge to their early game, and lane priors are going to be really freaking tough. And you're playing against a Vi that wants to play up in your face, that wants to punish you in the early game. Nara's great into Cassante early on as well. Talia is great at roaming later on as well. So they do have R5 for support from the side of DMG. And it feels like Porky can very easily play something like even Ezreal if you want to in the bot lane, if you don't want to go like up against it. But like Kai'Sa fits really well with the team of DMG, diving all in.
I was wondering, like, Ezreal, since you want to play for the late game, you already have the late game secured, so might as well play mid-top and just let Fadesky scale with the Ezreal. He likes it, he told us on the interview as well, so maybe that could be the pair. But the Nico, I feel it's so good nowadays, and getting them off guard would be beautiful to actually serrate the bot lane as well.
Yeah, this Braum band is quite interesting. They clearly have something in mind that they don't want to get points against. And I would say something, yeah, something that just ratatas out auto attacks. The thing that I wasn't a huge fan of something like an Ez, like you need consistent DPS to get through something like Cassante. You do have tools like Denton blows from Vi, Gnar when he's in mini, but aside from that, a consistent DPS and that range really against Azir and Corki as well is something you were missing. So I kind of vibe with this, I do, but you're gonna have to pick now. You can just go for an Enchanter support if you're DMG, right? A lot of times you'll see Jinx paired with Enchanters, but there's no other engage on the team because oftentimes support is an engaging role, and then it just falls apart, right? You still need frontline, you still need engage if you're playing with a Jinx, but they've already got that. They've got Vi, they've got Gnar, they already have frontline. They've also got Space Crate from Talia. I kind of like this. I actually think if you go for an Enchanter here, you're in a pretty good spot. And you know, that Wukong, you talked about this champion pool from Renewal and how he just likes to fight and jump in and go crazy. Well, we've got some big team fight tools here coming through in that 4 and 5.
I mean, I don't mind Engage here for DMG. However, if you go into more the Lulu route, Rel is fantastic into Lulu. Like, you break shields as well with your Q as well, so they're not going to get much value out of this. But now, seeing how everything from DMG just wants to dive forward, and you've just got a Jinx with hands up in the back, I just wish they had gone for the Kai'Sa route. You can go Kraken Slayer, you can absolutely demolish things like the Cassante, and also when Wukong dives into you, when Azir dives into you, you just fly straight into the backline. So you become the backline of their backline, technically. I'm very worried about Fadesky here. He actually introduced himself to me. Earlier came into my stream, and I was like, are you the Fadesky guy? Like, are you the AD carry? He's like, yeah, I'm the Aphelios Jinx guy. So I was like, well, there you go. He gets to show it.
There you go. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this is okay, we've got an interesting game one already, and I like the tools that DMG have shown, though. I think they have answers to what Rich Gang is throwing their way.
So tell me, to spice things up and open the appetite, who's going to take the first game?
I'll go with DMG. I don't like the Jinx, but I trust in the Talia Vi Gnar combo.
All right.
Yeah, again, like I said, I think DMG have tools. I actually think the Jinx will work. I think it will work. They'll create enough space for her. She'll be able to pop off and do some things.
Supposedly, it's a new and different Rich Gang, but DMG has showed evidence that they're really powerful. So to start this one, best of 5 elimination series, take it away, casters. It is Initialize and Solari.
Hello, folks! We're dressed up and ready for an elimination series. I am Initialize, and we have never looked more on point and more on brand for the chaos that will be the NLC. Where did you get that, Alicia? That is magical.
Thank you. I keep my secrets with me, okay? Anyway, no secrets anymore. Can we talk about this draft, Sam? I need to interrupt you there because
Yes.
I am worried and happy at the same time. My biggest worry is that there is not going to be too much action in the beginning of the game because I want the bloodbath as early as possible. But I look here, on the side of Rich Gang, everybody wants to wait. They want to have their ultimates and then they want to have items as well. They want to scale up. And on the side of GMG, unless Fadesky is going to go crazy, I'm not seeing much bloodbath coming from them either.
Yeah, I think I'm right. Oh, I think you're right, rather. And I agree with you, is how we phrase that, or rather. I'm just right, you know, as normal. That's how it is.
Yeah. That's
Confidence.
not the Sam I know.
Yeah, no, look, if I come in here with those glasses on and that wig on, there is no way I'm not coming with a certain level of unnecessary confidence. You know, it's just
Fair
how
enough.
it is.
Yeah.
You went for the
It comes in
project
a
skin,
package,
I
yeah.
went for the ego skin. Yeah, I went with the ego skin. It's
We're
how it is.
matching. Yeah.
But I was going to say that I agree with you. I think that the early game likely going to be a little quiet, probably, unless perhaps we see something out of the Vitalia making some roams once the level 6s come on through. But I feel before we get there, unlikely to see anything super crazy unless, say, the Rel or the Alistair finds a crazy engage, I guess.
Maybe. Or maybe like that.
Literally like that!
Well, Sky,
flash at level 1. My gut would say, it's going to be such a quiet early game, and then Billow's Flash Ignite for a chunk. Not too much more, honestly. It looked kind of cool for a second or two, but the damage not really there. Though the wave control was, that probably means level 2 should be hit earlier by DMG here.
It's not we go in and we kill and we secure a kill immediately. It's we go in, we secure the control of the wave. We secure the control of the lane. The enemies know that they gotta stick to their turret right now because we're gonna be ahead with levels. We're gonna be ahead with our position on the map. And we can dive if we really want to. I don't think they want to. But the thing is, yes, they are denying RG a lot of pressure on this lane now.
I think also, just thanks to the observers there as well, we saw that Renewal is on vision right now, so they had some idea about where the Wukong was, so were able to play very aggressively, knowing that the Wukong wasn't going to be around to mess things up early on with that wave shove. So DMG pull the trigger. We'll see whether it pays off in the end. They're still down that pair of summoners, whereas being kept by the side of Rich Gang, but Dandem now finding the invade, gets the denting blows combo across the clone and Renewal proper, as Bizguard now roaming to help support on this Grubs invade. Sorry, Raptor.
Please tell me we're gonna spill some blood. Please, we have so many people here. Can we? No. Well, we still work for the control cure. We still work for the prior, unless Dandem works for dying right now.
Well, that's the headbutt after Dandem in danger. Flashed on out of top. Comes through the double pulverize, looking to run away. Should be able to escape now. Will the Vine? They get on out to safety for now. Kamsky, remember, with no flash, but a good seismic shove prevents Nodu on the mount up from getting on top of the bait.
I love these teams because there is still no blood spilled, but at least we are having a little bit of craziness on the map. DMG are looking extremely aggressive. They had Prior on the mid lane, they had Prior on the bot lane. Because of that, they knew they could rotate Dandem into the enemy jungle to try to take something from there, to try to slow down Renewal. And to be fair, they've gotten out the flash of Renewal, which could be a really big asset to them, because now their laners can feel a little bit safer, unless until there is level 6 on that Wukong, but that still takes some time.
Yeah, and I remember less than 3 minutes ago when we were both going, yeah, no, it's going to be a very slow early game. We were very confident about it, and we've been very swiftly proven very wrong.
Yes. Oh. Okay, yes. Kamsky, yes. Have fun on the bot lane. I love it. Thank you so much to these teams, because we're having a really fun game here, especially if Dandem decides to have some fun on the mid lane. But yes, it's Azir. How do you realistically dive Azir like that? You need to catch him completely off guard with ideally no flash available as well, because so far Diverse feels very safe on the lane, even though Bizguard is trying to have as much prior in it as possible.
I'll be interested to see how this goes as well, because I know those numbers have improved over the last few weeks, but there was a point where in top flight League of Legends, Talia had something like a 70% win rate into Azir. Like, it was the worst mid lane matchup differential in the game, at least pro level. At one point, I think it's gotten a little better since then, but it's still a rough time for Azir. You get poked out, you can't slide very easily because of the unraveled earth. It's a tough time. You get out roamed on as well, so it can be a bit of an interesting matchup. So I am curious to see how Diverse pilots it, because at least on paper, it can be a tough one at points for this Azir.
Talia historically has been a really strong counter pick into those very mobile mid laners. And those that want to be active on the sidelines as well, because she can do those things better than them, and she can stop them from moving around freely, especially like things like Azir or like Sylas, for example. Bizguard has also found some success with that Talia, but now that there is level 6 coming very soon to the mid laners, I want to see Bizguard around map a little bit more. I want to see him at the Dragon Pit, I want to see him at the Nash Pit, and I also want to see Bucci not dying on the top lane, which he has been successful with so far.
That's a good start, yeah. I mean, he's obviously still held onto his teleport, whereas Conan had just burned his, so was trying to get as much of the wave there before he did go for that reset, see what he buys on the way back. Full steel caps feels pretty nice there for the Gnar, especially when you are into quite a lot of auto attack as hell. Even the Azir does a fair amount of auto attacking despite being an AP champion, so feels like a solid option here in the early game for the Gnar.
I wonder if they can rotate it somewhere, because I'm seeing Dandem around the Dragon Pit right now, but it doesn't look like there is enough prior on this bot lane at this moment to have anything, unless they want to facilitate things a little bit. There is no ward here for the blue side, so Dandem is looking respectfully.
I feel like he might be looking a bit more disrespectfully at the dragon, though. Like, this is just like, I want to fight.
I mean, at least he was looking respectful at the bot lane, okay? They decided not to go in, they rotated Beast Guard just to make sure that no shenanigans are gonna happen around this Drake, and it's going to be pretty much a free Infernal Drake for DMG side, and the answer from Renewal going on to the Grubs to have something for his team as well.
Mid lane though, Diverse might now be in a tricky spot, gets shot back over the Unraveled Earth, flash, headbutt, pull, into the queue, gets the shuffle away, there is no level 6 on Dandem though, but there is a Weaver's Wall, and Bizguard says there's nowhere for you to run! Flash on forward from the threaded volley will bring that down, Bucci coming on over, look, the threat and Renewal hops over the wall, looking to make this a cha-cha slide real smooth, as I head back on towards the Grubs. And get on top of that one. Did you like one hop this time? Like the references there, I think it's genius, just say it, you know?
I'm happy that you think so.
That was very kind of you, Alicia.
Yes, I decided I'm gonna be kind to you today, and like usual.
That's
you know.
unusual. That's fair. I'm gonna take that.
Yes, take that and be thankful, okay? It doesn't happen every day. It's a one-time.
One-time deal. Phew.
Yes. Anyway, can I bring your attention to something, please? Because not only did we finally get the first blood as a result of all this action around the mid lane and the Grubs, we also got 2 Grubs for DMG. So they secured both the first dragon and the Grubs. And now, in just a couple of minutes' time, I want to see DMG around the Grubs again, because they have quite some sideline pressure for a little bit later in the game, and they have Jinx, who is notorious at destroying the turrets extremely quickly. So if they manage to secure the next 3 Grubbies, that is going to be a very big win condition for DMG.
I completely agree, and I think also then, because they got the dragon and the majority of this first set of Grubs, they're just also winning in terms of the overall objective state as well. Renewal got a Grub for his time. That feels pretty miserable in terms of the grand scheme of the game.
Yeah,
I mean, what do you do? It's just kind of like, I've gone over here, right, we're trading, I'm saying, oh, we're not trading, like, at all, and my mid lane is dead. Well, pick an expletive of your choice.
Good question, actually. What do you do now as Rich Gang? Because you are losing on all terms. It feels like the only option right now is to try to slow down the game as much as possible, not give DMG much on the map in terms of the gold, experience, kills, objective, anything, and try to scale up. Because you still have a really good front lane for the later game, you still have a really good, strong mid laner and AD carry who are going to scale, so you will have the damage, you will have the teamfight opportunity. It's just, you need to make sure you're not too far behind compared to DMG when the time actually comes to fight for both of you.
Oh, that's brilliant. No, Solari. You know when we were trying to justify and explain, like, well, why did Karmsky flash at level 1? What was this level 1 pulverize? That's crazy. What's going on? Apparently, he typed in all chat that was a mistake.
What?
It just wasn't intentional. He didn't mean to do it. It was an oops. May have used slightly stronger words to that, but you guys get the vibe.
Oh god. I thought there was that was a display of skills, or a display of ego, or a display of dominance, at least. You know what? I'm going to stay Delulu and think that's what happened.
His flash is coming back. He used his flash off cooldown to go play mid lane, so you know what? It's all turned out well. He's made a statement.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now...
The lesson here is if you do something like that by mistake, you never admit that it was a mistake. You say that was calculated.
Correct.
That was the plan all along. See, they got something out of the play in the end, so it was all good.
Genius, have I ruined the whole thing? Now I've given it away. It's mid lane.
Kind of.
Diverse. Slides away. Okay. So I got away with ruining it by having a play happen in mid lane, despite having kind of called out Karmsky accidentally. Sorry about that, mate.
I think he's gonna forgive you. At least I hope.
You
so.
sure? Oh, yeah. I think I'm
not.
going to get a message after the series like, yo, why would you do that? And I'm like, I'm never going to cast again. That's it.
Fair enough. Why would you call a person out like that?
I don't know. Who knows? What possessed me to bring that up? Who knows? We've got ourselves, by the way, Grub spawning in 45 seconds. We've got Dragon just after that as well. And you said, just before this, yo, Jinx... She gets a hold of those Grubs, could be a really big deal. The first set of Grubs was supposed to go Rich Gang's way. It didn't happen. They're already setting up in the river because they don't want to give up those Grubs. See exactly how it plays out, because it does look like we're getting a significant amount of movement around that top side of the map.
And I love the movements from Rich Gang right now regarding these Grubs, because they have rotated their top lane to the bot lane, which means that they have their AD carry on the top lane. They in general have a lot of people, and look at what they're doing right now with Nodu setting up really deep vision into the enemy jungle. Rich Gang know that if they give up these Grubs, the game might just be over for them. But Faitsky is not losing any time. He is also moving up to the upper part of the river, so we might have a fight before us very soon.
EP into the mid lane. Diverse coming across. Karmsky on the back end of this. Dandem also around. The wards are pretty good from Rich Gang to spot the incoming members of DMG. Smite fight over the first grub. See whether Dandem wants to burn it. Down to 500 HP. New ult. Held on to it. Gets jumped on there. Cyclone comes on down. Karmsky's jumped on top of the Wukong though. And they've just blown him up. Bucci misses the ult. They're still going to shove onto Nodu, who go back towards the wall. RG failed to get over the wall there, just Rhythm, as the Corki just fumbles the flash and ends up face planting a wall to give over a second kill. DMG, that's the feats of martial mastery. They just need a couple more objectives. They just need a turret. And they need Rich Gang to keep fumbling like that, I think.
This could have been a disaster, and I think it just turned into a disaster. Everest, he's got to slide away this time, don't worry. But no, actually, you should worry if you're Rich Gang right now, because you are giving the grabs away again. You also gave away 2 kills. And what DMG did there, like, there was all this setup before the grabs even spawned from Rich Gang. What DMG did, they also rotated people in, and at the same time, they had Bucci with the rage stacked. So when he actually joined the fight, he was already the Mega now, and it's so hard for Rich Gang to fight in a fight like that, in an enclosed space like that, when there is a Talia and an Gnar against you.
It really is. And then DMG come away with 2 kills. They come away with the grubs. They come away with pretty much everything they could ask for. Conan has got the all out, but it's about to be ganked here, I fear. See how he plays one up. The Pathmaker comes on through, doesn't hit anyone. Footwork number 1 down, goes all out, but still now doesn't have any resist. They continue to try and chunk him out. Dandem looking for an auto or 2. Fadeski takes a turret shot. Will be Dandem who takes the next set of it. Gets a Q3 on 2. We'll get multiple. Wait, Conan, he is a barbarian. Gonna try and play for the extra one. Flash away for the Q3. Can look to turn it around. And all the while, Renewal gets the dragon on the other side. Rich Gang needed some turnaround plays, and that's a good start for it.
Bucci. Okay, we have the top laners who are going to be the main topic apparently for today, because I feel like Bucci should not survive that.
He flashes under the turret, trying to get towards the Mega Gnar, and gets ignited. All the while, there's a rocket coming on down. Nodu now in danger as Karmsky on the retreat, looking to punish. Flash on out will keep the Rel safe.
No, we are playing a mirror game right now. So DMG had an attempt, let's call it this. We have a tower dive on the top lane that didn't go right, and RG looked at it and said, hey, we can do that but better. But also, I mean, it is better because nobody died in that tower dive from their side. But here, what exactly are we trying to do with Faeska having no mana, so he's not really able to switch to the big rockets, on his Q, which means we are severely lacking damage. This Jinx doesn't have a completed item yet when this fight happens. We can't kill Xante quick enough, and that is still Xante. That is still the champion that thrives really well under a turret if he has his ultimate available and the enemies are low like they were there.
Bit of a fumble there from DMG. They're still up, nearly 2,000 gold. They still get the first turret. That gets them feats of strength, so they are still in a great position this game. However, that was a moment which didn't need to happen, I think it's fair to say. And we've seen DMG probably come into this series, that's the better phrase, as favourites. I think if they give up too many of those RG are certainly capable of punishing yet. Bucci in a 1v3 may be experiencing some of that. Can't quite get the wave under turret though, so they won't pull off the dive and repeat the failures that DMG just found under the top tier one of their own.
I understand why RG were looking for a play there. They couldn't really find anything, and maybe that's a good call to not waste resources if you're not sure a play is going to be secured for you, because in less than a minute, the Herald is going to spawn. And RG are already losing. They just lost the turret in the bot lane very recently. They are at the risk of losing the turret on the top lane as well. They certainly do not want to give the Herald away, and losing a lot of tempo at the top lane would guarantee that this Herald would go into the hands of DMG. But I love what Rhythm is doing right now. Just a chill guy on the bot lane, taking a turret for his team as well, so trying to neutralize the situation on the map a little bit. But we really need to see the attention from Rich Gang being on the top side of the map right now.
See how it all plays out. DMG with that decent lead here in this early game. You kind of already said, look, Rich Gang, your options come online a little later on into the game, and you will get to a point where, of course, the Corki, the Azir, the Wukong engage get very scary, a little bit like this. But you are going to need to polish up what you start. Viscod now turns up. Cyclone comes across. Double shuffle, but Dandem blows up Diverse. They do it across the Unraveled Earth, so they all stun themselves. And they get a few more kills. Dandem swift on the punish, and they just pick up 3.
Oh no! Come on, Rage Gang, you cannot do it like that. You cannot lose 3 right at the moment when the Herald spawns. I'm sorry, Conan, but you will not be able to do anything. That is going to be yet another objective going into the pockets of DMG. And the third assist going into the hands of Faetsky. It's a little bit sad to see Jinx without the kills, but she has been farming up. She has been getting at least those assists quite steadily throughout the game. Already the first item in. The Jinx is going to grow into a very scary thing for DMG, and it's so sad for Rage Gang that they weren't able to kill Faetsky quick enough, because that is what we see so often in the team fights from DMG. Faetsky stays alive in a team fight. He usually is able to relegate himself to a spot where he can deal consistent damage to the enemies. That is really hard to deal with. Here, the attempt is good to get onto him with the shove away. He survives at extremely low health, but luckily for him, this time his teammates were around him, making sure that the AD carry stays alive.
Last time I was casting Biscard, he picked up a pentakill. That was on the way, but having a good start to this game, 2-0-2. Got the Vi off to a lead, the Nara off to a lead, the Jinx in a good spot. DMG in general looking very solid outside of that top lane fumble. Now with Dragon spawning in 40 seconds and pressure in mid lane, feels like it'll be their objective to control, I feel.
Remember about the grabs, remember about the Herald, remember about the Jinx. Yes, DMG right now are in a good position, very good position actually, to continue pressuring the lanes hard, especially if they stick around Faetsky. And especially if Bushi doesn't die right now, but he has a feeling that something is off.
Players out the way, gets a chunk onto Diverse. They're going to jump on him regardless, there's no one taking Tarago. The rocket comes on up. And Nodu will at least be traded out. Bucci goes down, but they take one with him. It means they can throw the Herald in mid lane at the same time. Dragon spawns in 5 seconds, and all the while, Dandem gets dragged all out under the tier 2, so he's gone very deep. We'll cease and desist for a second, but does go down. Nice angle from Conan to get that. So prevents the smite being on the board. Important kill there. Onto the Vi and a shutdown towards Rhythm.
And suddenly that Herald in the mid lane becomes really, really expensive, because losing just Butch on the top lane is okay. That's something DMG can handle, especially if they take at least one back. But then losing another one when the Dragon is up and running, losing a turret on the top lane, having a lot of pressure from RG on this top lane right now, having to rotate someone there. Suddenly things are not looking that solid for DMG anymore. They're still in the lead everywhere, like in terms of gold, in terms of their position on the map. Wow, this is shaky. This can be brought down.
I can. DMG should still be in a good position this game, but moments like that can get a little bit tricky, and finding a second turret there for Rich Gang, getting that shut down, are good ways to potentially find a way back into this game. No one took the Dragon yet either, and it does look like Rich Gang, at the minute at the very least, are in that blue side, or rather bot side river, that's the correct way to phrase it. And Dandem going to try and clear out on the other side of the map. Doesn't find any wolves because they're not there, but can still look to take out the Gromp and play around that top side instead.
Now is a good time for DMG to look for that additional pressure on the top side of the map, because Atacon is actually going to be spawning there rather soon, and DMG could try to play towards that objective instead of the Dragons, especially since Dragons are not of that high priority right now. Each team has one for them, so you can skip the next Dragon if the price that you get in return is going to be higher. Just for DMG, I would be a bit worried for that right now, because previous times we've seen already them deciding to trade something for something and not necessarily always finding the best trade.
No one's taking that Dragon, but the Weaver's Wall coming. Cease and desist. Emperor's Divide trying to buy some time, but it just won't. Seismic Shove is there. And Diverse, not really feeling all that Diverse at 0 and 3. He's just dying a lot, isn't it? That's a pretty standard thing to be doing. Tandem now in danger. Still can find a way over the wall with the Vault Break. Over the wall goes Bucci, though. A wonderful Nara to the wall. And now Renewal needs to back away. The Cyclone is running, but that weather is going to peter out shortly. Flashes out to safety, but that's all to be found. DMG. A wonderful flank angle from their top laner, and they find another fight.
And they find another double kill for Biscard as well. The brother is 5-0-2 right now. Soon is going to be at 2 items. This Talia is very dangerous. I kept talking about Jinx. I'm sorry, we have to divert, because this Talia is going to be a big... She already is, to be fair, a big problem for the Rage Gang, because it's so hard to fight with her when she can follow up with you so quickly, when she can stop you from moving freely in the team fights, which is very crucial, especially for Azir and for Wukong in those fights. DMG are finding good fights here, and I gotta say, I loved Bucci in that team fight. For the second time already in this game, we see him waiting to join a fight up until he's going to be turning into a Mega Gna, but when he finally does join the team fight, it's not too late, first of all, and second of all, his impact is huge with the shops of the Mega Gna.
Okay, Infinity Edge completed. The Fateski,
Let's
10
go.
stacks on the Dark Seal for Bizguard as well. That better be a book at some point. I want to see the library in use.
You know the rule of the book, right? Because he hasn't died so far, even once in this game. The moment he dies,
yes.
the book and leaves the base. Shutdown. A very big shutdown, by the way.
Yeah, it is written. That's how it works. The moment you pick up the book,
Yes.
disaster strikes. You should still pick up the book, though. I'm just saying.
I mean, yes, but can you afford to have a disastrous DMG right now? Because look, they have managed to make their lead much higher than before. Reach Gang are really far behind, and it's going to be really hard for Reach Gang to fight in the next team fight that is surely coming very soon, with all the eyes being on that Otacon, the top side of the map. And on Colin
boy.
at this time, actually, but I don't think you killed that thing quickly enough. That's still something.
Nice blast cone, but it's dragged him the wrong way, and it's meant that Renewal has been left out to dry. Double pulverize onto him. Kamsky pretty deep here. Now jumping onto No Dude. Bucci coming on over. There is no mid-tier one to keep them all safe. And everyone from Richgan trying to run for the hills, but the rocket is there to make sure Rel is scrap metal. Conan now walking towards that tier one. Eats a rocket or two, but is still pretty damn tanky at this point. No armor pen in Fateski's inventory. TP now towards this bot tier 2 as Diverse was shoving on up, but Bucci, the Meganar, will threaten enough to have his ear backing away. Atacon, you called it out though, is up and available, and DMG won't start it up, baited by the observers.
Very still a teleport on Divers. He decided not to use that teleport to join his team in a very scattered fight that just happened in the forest, with DMG being a little bit indecisive as to who they were going to kill. It's like, this target is the closest to us, which is Xanthi, let's try to kill him. Oh, actually, you know what? Renewal is a bit closer. Let's try to maybe kill that thing. At least they got a kill in the end, and it's finally a kill for Jinx, which you gotta be really happy about. But it is very dangerous for DMG to start anything about Otacon right now, which is why we see them scattering across the map again, because there is still that teleport on Diverse, and Azir is very good on the sidelines as well, even without those void grabs that DMG got for themselves.
Vault Breaker over the wall into a seismic shove that is flashed away from by Conan, the only member of the team, it feels like, with a positive scoreline right now, but still down 1,700 gold to Bucci's Nah. It's a classic for him. He's up 50 CS, having a great old time. Finally, this tier 1 in mid might fall, but over comes DMG's bot lane, and they get a chunk. How far do they want to look here? Bucci with the Meganar was looking to see whether someone oversteps, but Gang quick enough on the retreat, and nothing more going to be found there by DMG.
Nothing really to fight on this part of the map though, except for this mid lane turret for Reach Gang if they manage to win a fight, but that's a big if, because they are behind in terms of itemization, they are behind in terms of goals, so you don't want to be fighting on the bot side of the map as Reach Gang right now. However, as DMG, what you want to be doing is looking at this top part of the map, because still Otacon, and at the same time the Baron Nashor is going to be spawning really soon. That's why DMG are looking at this inner turret with Jinx on the top lane already. They should be able to take that down really quickly.
Conan slipped into that bush then, could potentially jump onto Fateski. It's the double path maker, the turnaround though, with the headbutt pull. Fateski over the wall with the flash. Stays alive. Now Renewal looking for the angle, gets the Cyclone on top of Fateski, who's down very low. Cease and desist to try and buy some time. Fateski gets barrier, but the shuffle from Diverse is glorious. Emperor's Divide of the health bar. Diverse will fall, but the burn is enough to bring him low. Kamsky mounted up on his rhythm with the Gatling gun rolling. Will still not be able to get on in, as the damage back from Bizguard gets him a triple. Throw another down rock. He's throwing bloody warheads at this point. Seismic shove will prevent easy escape from Rich Gang. Bucci nowhere near the Meganar. In danger. Footwork rather does make sure they get another back. A double kill over the rhythm. But Bizguard continuing to auto to throw rocks will make sure it is a 4 for 4 as everybody but the AD carrier mid laner dies.
Big question here is whether Bucci dying there was that necessary, because no, you know what? Having Bizguard feeling so good at this fight with so many additional kills, with so much additional gold, it should feel good for DMG. I love initially what Faeski is doing here, because it is the usual Faeski. He's trying to really get himself to a safe position, and then Dantum immediately jumps when he sees that his jungle is in danger. But as you pointed it out, this Azir wall was insane, because if you want to be fighting in a very enclosed space like that on the jungle, you gotta remember that you're not the only team that can use those bottlenecks. Azir uses them extremely well as well, and having Rhythm dealing consistent damage helps you utilize those bottlenecks really well. So RG are yet again finding some really good openings, but Bizguard, man, Bizguard still comes out on top in this fight.
Rhythm just about staying alive. There's all the footwork shield from Conan, got him a lot of work. But Bizguard, as you said, finds a lot of value there. Now picked up a Arm Guard and a Blighting Jewel, so halfway between a Zhonya's and a Void Staff. The wall comes on down, blocking Rich Gang out of the pit as Baron is being taken right now by DMG. Looking to find an angle. Bucci hops away. Conan now caught on top of that Unraveled Earth, as is Nodu. Rocket into the backside. Headbutt pulverized. Fatesky gets the kill. And a member down. Bucci now at Mega now, looking for an angle. Baron down to half HP. And I don't think Rich Gang wants to contest anymore.
I don't think they can. I don't think Rich Gang can, unless Renewal pulls out something crazy, but he will not have time to get to that feed. There is Jinx on the side of DMG, taking down this Baron extremely quickly. That is yet another major objective for DMG. And look what Fetsky is going to be doing right now. Remember, all those grabs are still there for him, but now there is also the Baron-empowered minions. Poof, this turret is gone just that quickly.
Conan now in a 1v4, not quite sure who is there. Cassante doesn't even get a chance to go all out. He's just sort of out for 45 seconds currently.
Ouch. He's just out for 40 plus seconds, by the way, which is absolutely awful for Rich Gang because they need to defend their base somehow, and without their main front line, that is going to be really hard if DMG decide to push through altogether. But right now, they just want to get rid of this inner turret on the mid lane, potentially looking at the bot lane as well. Getting out all the inner turrets with this Baron is going to be a big win for DMG.
Bucci can look for a big ult here. Will manage to knock him into the wall with the help of Bizgod's Seismic Shove. Another good hit on that one. Renewal on a flank action, but 13 seconds on Conan. No rel. It will be a 3v5. And I don't think that Wukong feels comfortable looking for the engage inhibitor. Will be seeded by Rich Gang.
He's just looking. He's just looking, brother. As his base is slowly but surely going down. That is the inhibitor down on the mid lane. That is DMG looking potentially to take the next objective on the map because they are so much in control of the map as a result of it. Top lane destroyed. Mid lane completely destroyed for Rich Gang. Bot lane is the only inner turret that is still standing for them, but they cannot really play around it anymore. The jungle does not belong to Rich Gang anymore, and you can see it even by the vision that DMG have already put in, and hopefully will put in a little bit more. Please?
That would be nice. We'll see whether that actually happens, of course, as Soul Point just spawned for DMG, and I suspect they may well go to claim that one. They've got a little bit of time left on the Baron, though, as Conan will buffer through the headbutt pulverized by pressing W. Cassante has done that for quite a while now, so we should be used to it.
We still have the Baron buff, by the way, as DMG. We still look at those inner turrets. There is still at least one more left for Fetsky to take. Maybe two, if they continue pushing in.
Got a wave, and they've still got the dregs of Baron. I agree, they can look for it, at least. Nodu on a flank action. Dandem trying to ward that off as a potential threat. All of Rich Gang here to try and stop that one as Bucci finds Nodu. Gets jumped onto Bucci. He's nearly at Mega now, so I don't know how afraid he actually is. Looking to find something. Can't find the ult back out from the base gate, so we'll have to leave that one alone. Q3 onto Karmsky, but the Untofo strikes don't lead to all that many points. This ain't bowling. He gets away with it.
Still the kind of median in this wave. Still could try to force something here under this turret. Wonder how far DMG want to go now.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. They've thrown a couple ultimates now to try and get a chunk. Haven't really gotten that much threat down and only gotten a third of that turret. Bucci goes back towards mid lane to try and get that one shoving on in.
The Baron buff, however, is over for DMG. Maybe it's time to leave this poor turret alone and look for something else? Or do they want to continue? Do they want to get rid of this turret and threaten the inhibitor, leave it open, and then rotate maybe to the dragon and the top part of the map where Alakon is still like, hey guys, maybe somebody wants to take me. I have a good objective as well, by the way. Yeah, I spawned flowers. But no, it's going to be dragon, of course, taking the priority for DMG. There are objective boundaries for Rich Gang, obviously, but yeah. Seasonal allergies.
Yeah, exactly. They've got hay fever. They don't have to deal with all those extra flowers. They don't blame them. That's super reasonable. That said, there are now 3 items on an Azir, on a Corki, and Rich Gang are topside. I don't think they look like they want to rush that Atacana or anything, especially with the Corki and the Azir not anywhere near it. But that said, some of those item breakpoints that will be pretty key to mounting a theoretical comeback now kind of hit, at least by that mid and bot lane. The problem is on the other side, that is a 4-item Jinx and a 3.5-item Talia, who could at any point now complete a Medjay's on top of having a Void Staff option to complete as well.
And maybe finally buy a book, but Bisgard knows something about the ancient rules. He's still 10-0 for. He's not letting the curse breaking down yet. Honestly, that's saying thanks to Bisgard, because he has been really careful about his positioning while being really aggressive in the fights at the very same time, which allowed him to basically secure those 10 kills and 4 assists. So Bisgard so far has been the highlight of this game for DMG's side. Hopefully stays this way for DMG, because they're that close to closing game number 1 and having it in their pockets. Looking at Alakon right now, not respectfully at all. Finally, hopefully, this objective will go down. And what is going to be the next step for DMG? Or rather, what is going to be the next step for Rich Gang? Because can they do anything? Can they scatter any crumbs left on this map to try to fight back DMG in what could be potentially one last fight?
That would be the plan. They'll have to try and do it from there. At the very least, Diverse farming up a storm here. Nearly a flame horizon against this Talir, despite the Talir's involvement across the map has come at the cost of a wave or two. Of course, Bucci managing to do the same on the other side. What have you got? That's a big noise.
The book!
It's there!
The book has
You're right!
been bought!
Hooray! Now, is the curse real, Solari? Is he now going to die for the first time this game?
Do you want to have a bet?
What's the bet?
I say that in the next fight that happens between DMG and Rich Gang, Bisgard dies.
Okay. I will go for the opposite then. In that case, what happens if either of us win/lose?
Ooh, good question. How me prepared for that? I don't know.
You suggested the bet!
Yes, but like a friendly bet. You only, like,
no stakes.
The only thing that you lose is your pride if you lose.
Okay,
you know?
that's fine. I value that. That's fair.
Oh, that's so nice.
I have to pay for pastries in Denmark, is what Archeron says. Pastry round in Denmark?
Yes!
I'm down.
Okay,
All
I'm down too.
Pastry round in Denmark.
Yes.
Okay.
For everybody,
I'm with
though,
it.
for the viewers as well.
Okay, viewers, you guys got to choose small. I don't have that much money. Is Bucci going to look for an angle on it here? As I need to hope that Bisgard does not die. They're going to go on forwards. Bucci looking for the angle. The rocket comes crashing on forwards. Big engage out to Denoted. They die as well. Diverse still stands. And I think, Solari, you're paying for pastries.
Oh my god! Everybody, you have to buy tickets for a League's Disrupt now, because
That's the
I,
one.
Solari, am buying pastries for everybody who's coming in.
Beautiful. I'm looking forward to it. The most delicious Danish pastries coming your way out in Denmark. DMG would love to participate and get a hold of them themselves. They've got a long road ahead of them here in the run through playoffs. But game 1 in this series, this elimination series, goes their way.
Yes, with 8-23, with an insane lead. There were some slightly shakier moments from DMG's side, but you have to admit, they were strong. They looked incredibly dominant in this game. And I think that there might have been more missteps, like what we saw in the very beginning of the game from Kalmsky, but in the end, what matters, you secure a very good victory in game number 1, so should you look at those mistakes? Maybe you should, but not right now. Now celebrate.
That's exactly it. And the best way to celebrate is with a silly wig and a phenomenal face mask like that. From myself and Project Solari Desk, take it away.
Oh.
I want those glasses. That's all I want to say. I want those glasses. Well, first game goes to DMG, and we have to break it down to understand how it started and how it got here. Yeah, is everyone muted?
I could never.
No.
I could never.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
but let's start from the beginning, because I think Champion Select dictated a little bit of how the jungle bled out into all the lanes, correct?
That was... If you're ever going to play a Vi, not only do you have a perfect match with you, which is Talia, one of her best pairings together with Ari, but also you have Poplin Prio, Naren to Casante, Botlane Prio, a Jinx that can perma-push that bot lane, which they also had pressure from level 1 and level 2. And it felt like Dandom could just walk around the entire map and do whatever he wanted. Void grubs, dragons, early kills. It was all DMG.
Yeah, and conversely, Renewal got nothing done early game because he couldn't. What could he do? Honestly, like, it was too tough. I mean, Wukong isn't exactly the biggest early game champion anyway. Like, he's not going to be spam ganking, but like, you don't even have any like lane setups for your ganks. How does Nazir, you know, Wukong needs setup, right? He has no crowd control by himself, doesn't really have damage until his first item. He needs setup, right? And there's no setup. Maybe the rail bot side is about as good as you're getting, but you're planning to an answer Jinx. That's going to be hard to gank in of itself. So yeah, just tricky. Not really the identity that we've seen Rich Gang succeed with, which was obviously Renewal being able to do all of his beautiful things early.
You know what? I heard you guys say Conan's doing everything he can to win. I'm saying DMG were doing everything they could to lose in this particular dive. Not only are you committed into diving a Cassante, but your Jinx has 0 damage and you're re-diving a tower that's ramped up. It takes 3 seconds for the tower to drop the ramped up damage. And right here, Conan, like, there was like a discussion of like, why are DMG not closing it out? And it was moments like this, and it is also moments like this that are holding DMG back when they play against teams of a higher caliber than Rich Gang, right? So you cannot be making these mistakes. Like, if you're gonna dive a Cassante, make sure you have the HP bars, you have the mana bars, most importantly, on your carries as well.
And that the turret is now ramped up. I think that's so important and pivotal as well. I agree, sometimes the MG shows so much, but then those small mistakes push them back and the game went on and on and on. I do believe like Bizgard did an amazing job, even though when the MG were like, hey, we're pushing too far, Bizgard was like, okay, calm down guys, I got you, I can throw stones.
Yeah, this was another questionable play though. This is what, 3 versus 4? Like, Rich Gang opt into this. Rich Gang engage this play. What's like, I don't. This one is just a head scratcher for me. A lot of these kind of just not smart plays, really. And from now on, like, yeah, as you mentioned, Bizgard had a huge had a huge game, and a lot of it is because of what he was able to achieve early, right? With the kills that he was fed early, kind of funneled kills as well. He had his best game of the split, in my opinion, in this one. And it's funny because coming into this game, the 2 main playing lanes, 2 main lanes that you would play through, if that makes sense, for DMG, have been Bucci and Fatesky, right? Top and bot. Bizgard, not one of them. This game, however, Bizgard has just proved that DMG have an endless amount of prongs to attack from in the top side, in the mid side, excuse me. So yeah, just crazy. The more we see DMG, the more threats we see coming out of them.
One thing you highlighted, tell me Trouble.
Yeah, I feel like I'm looking at the neutral objectives right here. It was just like, it is what happens, right? When you have 4 lanes of prior, 3 lanes of prior, and you play in a Vi, you can play aggressive. I just feel like Renewal wasn't necessarily given the chance to play as aggro as he could. However, here's where you look at the positive things. Talia's out, Vi is out, most importantly, Fatesky's, Jinx is out. He chooses to introduce himself as the Aphelios Jinx guy, and he chose to burn that card in game number 1. And Rich Gang, when we talked earlier on to Renewal, they said, oh, we have so many different picks, we cannot wait to show them, we have been practicing them. Now this is where you go really deep into a champion pool, right? Fearless draft, best of 5.
Yeah, agree 100%. Like, you use the Jinx, but most of those AD carries that we've seen him play are still up. And in the jungle, you provided the Wukong, didn't really bright it up. But now Rich Gang are playing on the red side, so they're the ones that want to counter or at least reply to whatever DMG is going to throw at them on game 2. This is the best of 5, so keep that in mind for this draft. There's still a lot of options for Rich Gang. Let's see if they're able to show it. But until then, we have to hear a quick announce from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Oh, I just like the bit. I'll see you soon. Game 1 in favor of DMG. As it stands, they'll have to play through blue side. Rich Gang is going to pick the red side. On the interview, they stated they're comfortable having more champions, they're prepared, scrims are going good, and as Trouble actually pointed out, if scrims are looking good, be careful, run away, things are not looking good on stage. That's how it works. But DMG though, when they play, they bring different champions, but it's the same, like same but different, isn't it?
Same but different.
It's the same,
You wanna
it's different,
encrypt
but
that,
it's the same.
Foxy?
Okay.
He
let's
knows.
see.
I'll give you
What does
Foxy.
it mean?
He knows
I
the meme.
ain't touching that.
Okay, he's saying that DMG
Yes.
are
Yeah.
so multi-talented that
Oh.
even when things look different, it's the same because they're still cracked. Am I close?
Hey, can you show us the draft so we can break it down? I think
You're
it's easier
both
that
both.
way. Look, different
Alright.
champions, but what do?
Well, what do you mean what do they do? They fight. That's what they're on the rift. The thing that I wanted to point out with this particular graphic is that
Yeah.
every single time I wanted to look at every single draft. Every single one of them is drafted for different reasons. Draft number 1 up at the top. Fatesky was playing on hit Varus. Every single piece around that draft was centered around surrounded Varus. Draft number 2, a Vi with 3 prio lanes and aerial support through the Jace and the Hui, since no bodies were committed in the fight with them. And draft number 3, which was the one versus Los Ratones, everyone played for Bucci on the top side of the map, for that Olaf, the shields, the setup with the Sejuani. I feel like DMG are so good because they are a multi-threat team, and I feel like their drafts have really showed how you can pick one champion at the very beginning and then sort of draft everything around them, sort of how it happened with Avai in that draft number 1 that we saw.
So even this blue side that they have to deal with now, it's not that concerned. They might even use it to their own advantage. On the interview, it was Fatesky talking about the Pantheon and how scary that Pantheon is. And now they have access to the blue side. They banned the Pantheon on game 1. On red side, they might be able to use it for Dendam as it stands. We jump into the second champion select. Let's see what red side Rich Kang is going to provide us. Jace, Nafiri, the Gwen should be another one if it's normal.
Yeah, Pantheon, I don't think we're going to see get through this series. I don't think so. Renewal had his best game on Pantheon, so good. Early game, spam ganking. Yeah, I would not let that go through if I were DMG. On the other hand, if you are Rich Gang, you've really got to mix up a lot of things here, because 3 losing lanes and a chill jungler is not going to work. It's not going to get it done. You know, Renewal said they had lots of different picks planned. We saw some new picks. The Wukong was new. The Azir was new. Weren't all that good. Although I do think individually Diverse actually had a pretty good game there. So Darius is gone as well. And yeah, let's see what DMG decides to go for B1. It is Orianna on the Bizguard. Also a takeaway for Diverse, as that is his most played champion so far.
Well, it's up.
The Darius is giving me major Olaf vibes. The reason why Olaf cannot play into Darius is because Olaf likes to play on very low HP, but Darius executes you if you're too low HP, so you don't get to use your passive as often. And Bucci is an Olaf guy, and I love if the Sylas pick gets locked in. That's a huge read from Rich Gang, because Sylas with Olaf ult is actually pretty freaking unstoppable. So I love the read right here, and I wonder if DMG are still gonna go through with the plan.
I like it. I like the idea, the call of an Olaf here for DMG. It would be a bit risky to pick it blinds, however. And so if Rich Gang have read this, then they could also ban it out in that second phase. Let's see. So we've got, I mean, the Braum is still open versus Misfortune, which is a very powerful anti-Misfortune tool. And yeah, let's see how they go for this one. Dandem, fortunately, he has been living for the moment where we get into Fearless now, because finally he can stop playing Vi, right? That's gone. He's done. He doesn't have to pick that champion anymore.
Dude, he is over.
Yeah, he's so over that, as I'm sure someone else on this desk is too.
You're saying it
so
as if his
yeah.
entire team doesn't play for him if he picks Vi, alright? There's more miserable players on Vi, okay? There's like naked
Yeah.
B1 Vi's roaming around out there.
Naked Vi? Whoa. Caitlyn has entered the chat. Right, so Braum. Braum was the pick after all against the Misfortune. Really good versus that bullet time.
But the value you're getting from this Silas already, it's scary. Every single ulti on the other side is like, oh, thank you. Nom nom, nom 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 nom. So do be careful with that, especially with the Nocturne. All of a sudden you get Shockwave and you're like, wait, what happened?
This is very interesting. Usually the times where you want to play Nocturne is if you conceal either some big ults or you have some big wombo combos, like for example the Orianna that's been taken away. The other two that I can think of is either the Ornn or the Kennen up on the top side of the map. And Ornn is really freaking good into the Ornn, but also Ornn can run Exhaust. It's one of those champions that can run Exhaust into something like the Kennen. So I'm actually really scratching my head right here to see what potentially Renewal could pair this up together with Conan on the top side of the map. Seeing as Conan does like to play a lot of the tanky champions, I think Ornn could be on the table, but again, Braum is one of the better champions, the best actually, to stop the Ornn from coming through.
Ornn versus the big old silencer of like shoving mud down the trumpet of the Ornn. Nothing's getting through there. Braum has that covered. That would be a very risky pick indeed if that one went down from Conan. But to be honest, I actually think the solo lanes from Rich Gang were on point in game number 1. Like the draft just sucked. It was just kind of unplayable. But like Conan had his moments, and Diverse again was very solid in the mid side. We haven't got any Olaf bans through. A lot of focus on the supports and the bot side of the map. Renata is going to be the takeaway, which I think is quite smart if DMG have a very go forward comp, right? You slam down the hostile takeover, and it acts as a bit of like a sort of like a disengage to DMG running forward at you.
I do not like Renata here. This is an all-in comp from Rich Gang. It's not like Renata's just gonna be superheroing forward and just diving into press R, right? This is a DMG that are like defending themselves. A full peel, Orianna, Sinzao, Braum. The Kog'Maw right here solidifies the deal as well, right? They just want to be going backwards, not forwards. So I feel like the only reason Renata is picked right here is because they wanted to play more of an enchanter down the bot lane since Braum has been locked in, and Renata is pretty good into the Braum. However, oh my god, Rich Gang, I feel like they're a little bit lost in the sauce right here. Let's see what they've got for the top side of the map. I feel like it still needs to be like some sort of all-in champ together with Nocturne.
You need to jump in. You need something that can go forwards here, because if it's just Nocturne and Silas going forward, then that ain't it. And this is also... So this isn't quite a jump forward. This is more of a not jump forward kind of
She makes
champion.
their opponents jump when they touch W.
Yes, it's a jump.
It's a
How
jump.
many W... Bro, you've got... we got Zin and Zin charge and Renekton. Is that it? That's all. Yeah, true. Actually, the Braum W. That's true, dude. That's true. Hard countered right there.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. This is looking a little bit tough, but I will say that Rich Gang should have a little more prio at least this time around. Maybe not from top side with Poppy into Renekton, but I think Misfortune Renata can do a little bit more versus Braum, and the Silas is the big X factor here, and I just want to highlight this. Big X factor, because he has the potential to go mega in this game. He has good ults to still, but we've had question marks around Diverse and how he's played in the spring split so far. The seeding stage wasn't too hot, but he did do very well last game. I think it's a big prove it game here for the French mid laner on Rich Gang.
And he usually plays from afar as well. Let's see how he fares when he goes into the mix of this conversation. So when we talk about this, Trouble in Fox, I just want a name before I toss it to the caster. So far, 1-0 could be match point for DMG, or could be 1-1. What are you feeling?
DMG.
It's not a 1-1, I see.
Bro,
okay,
I'm in
DMG,
poverty,
DMG.
mate. I'm impoverished. I'm on the streets. I'm panhandling. It is not a Rich Gang day. It's DMG, baby. This
I
ain't it.
see your point of view. As it stands, it looks like DMG might be able to put it on match point. Keep in mind, elimination. This is elimination. If someone loses today, they'll be watching tomorrow from chat. And with that in mind, I'll toss it to the cast of Solari and initialize. What do you have for now? Like, what is the goggles?
What? You will never know! Oh, amateur! You could never be a cosplayer. Oh, Initialize is muted, by the way. Oh my god! Somebody had to be muted today, okay? Initialize is just filling in the quota. Thank you, Initialize. Everybody say thank you, Initialize.
Can you hear
I don't
me?
know, production? I can hear you all the time, unfortunately. Production, can
That's-
everybody?
okay,
unfortunately,
wonderful.
you can hear now, too.
Oh,
Fine.
phew. There we go. A refresher. A refresher? That's the wrong. Just a refresh. That's the word. I think I just extended the word for no necessary reason. Here we are.
You're the native speaker here.
That doesn't make me right all the time, unfortunately. I say weird things.
Nothing makes you right all the time because
Look,
you aren't, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you for that, Alicia, you know? Look, I get away with it by virtue of confidence and the ability to make it sound like the word is a real thing.
Okay, just be confident. I see you, so if you're not sure, just be confident. Do you think you
Correct.
can apply to the teams in this game? Because they would need a lot of confidence, especially
Nice
Rich
way.
Gang with this draft. Ah, man, can we talk about diverse, please? Because I've been dying to talk about diverse during the draft. Because they're opening up Silas so early for him. And the thing about diverse is he wasn't bad in the previous game. His Azure moves were pretty good, especially like some choke point fights in the jungle. He was really on point. The thing is, and that is not just from the previous game. This is from all the games from Rich Gang throughout the split. The team doesn't really seem to play around diverse a lot. They don't make it their priority to keep diverse alive. If they change their ways this time when he's playing on Silas, would it change the game as well?
I think they're going to need him to. I think Foxy called it out, saying he's going to be a linchpin in this game. Dive pairing with that Nocturne, even as you said, there's a little bit of a disconnect thematically between that Renata and some of the rest of the comp. We'll see how it all works out. It's Dandem. Looking at the lane gank here on Diverse, been slowed down by that command Dissonance. Hit by the wind becomes lightning. Chain lash, that's the word. Will not revolve too much more damage in the way back. So, ends up being just a bit of a look in and not too much more found. The early shove
least-
seems to be DMG's for now.
At least it didn't take the flash out of Diverse. That is what's the most important for Rich Gang. Right now, Diverse needs his flash to survive this lane because this is a very hard lane to play up until level 6. There is a way for Silas to go very aggressively onto Orianna with a lot of gap close in his kit, but with the Beast Guard taking so much care of having the wave always stacked, and having his jungler to help him out as well. This is such a hard lane for Diverse to play. Speaking of hard lanes, oh my god, this Poppy is not having a fun time either. Poor corner, no mana, no health, no lane, and soon no TP as well.
Yeah, that one was rough. The Steadfast Presence ran out, and then Bucci went, cool, and now I can E. And the Poppy kind of suffered. Gets to go back, go by a tier early on, so we'll likely be looking to go towards the Thimble Winter build, which has been a regular solo lane option since that item kind of first came onto the scene. While at least this Renata and Misfortune have managed to get the pressure down here to have somewhere to play around for the side of Rich Gang this time around.
We had the desk talk about it, right? At least this time Rich Gang have a lane to play around, a lane that is going to have prior, a lane that potentially could try to snowball the game around them. Problem is, they don't really have a jungler who's going to snowball that for them, because I'm looking at Renewal, he's a level 4 right now. He needs to power farm to level 6 as soon as possible. After that, maybe we're going to see some fun movements around the map from him. Hopefully, actually, we're going to see some fun movements from him around the map at this point. But before that, DMG have a prior with Dandom playing on Xin Zhao. Could also try to have something fun happening on the bot lane, but it looks like Rich Gang's bot lane is prepared for that, because I see quite some vision around this bot lane, making sure that there is not going to be any surprise gank from Dandom.
Definitely, and when you got Flash Ghost, the Braum in front of you, the heal on the Braum, like getting on top of this Cogmore long enough to kill him, particularly the early game before items have been built up, it's going to be really tricky, I think, even once Nocturne hits level 6. So I just think that Fatesky is in a really good position to carry this game for the side of DMG. Just as we were sort of saying, look, that Diverse may well be that X factor that Rich Gang have drafted towards.
The only problem for Faetsky is going to come up if there is going to be a really good renewal play, because this Nocturne with the access to the backline of DMG can make Faetsky's life miserable. But in order to do that, this Nocturne needs to be ahead. This Nocturne needs to be able to kill this Cogmore as soon as he goes into him very quickly, because otherwise he's not getting out, and otherwise this whole play is not going to work out for Rich Gang. So this draft is extremely ambitious from Rich Gang's side, but they need to be ahead. They need to be really accelerated by the time they start being funky around the enemies. So far, haven't seen anything from them yet, but level 6 is going to hit very soon for renewal, and my eyes will be on that jungler.
All right, eyes on that first Paranoia. Dandem, though, looking to make a move before level 6 on the jungle. Ronan down to half HP, in danger. Hammer shot comes on forward. 3 Talon Strike stacked up on the wave, knocked up. Flashed away outside of the W, so no room to get shoved under the turret. But now, Bucci, flash, slice dice, gets the kill. We'll make sure they get that one in there. A little bit ugly with the flash, but still managed to secure the kill regardless. And the Poppy dies, no teleport, remember. And it is in trade for that dragon at the very least for Rich Gang. But still, not a great moment for the top lane.
And Bucci doesn't die. Moreover, Bucci's getting some turret plates in the meantime. Great play from Dandem. They are very aggressive. Going into Poppy right before he puts her shield on, so he's still able to get close with her. And at the same time, stays right under the turret silently, patiently, to make sure the aggro is on him and not on Bucci for as long as possible. Conan did literally everything he could as Poppy in this situation to not die, but it was the writing on the wall, and there was no way for him to get out of it. In the meantime, however, Renewal has gotten a dragon, Renewal has gotten level 6, and let's see if they're going to try to utilize that anywhere on the map.
Dandem's still at level 5, looking to get on towards his red buff, but with the lane pressure bot, Renewal can now look to try and steal away this red buff, but Dandem, there quickly enough with the control ward that one away, and will be able to take his own red buff here, despite Nodu having that prior in the early roam on in.
No, that's a good decision from Renewal to go in. There was no diverse in the mid lane, and there was a very confident beast guard in the mid lane as well. There would have been a numbers advantage for DMG if Rich Gang decided to have a fight there. So smart decision there from Renewal to step back a little bit, to go back into his jungle, to continue farming. Hopefully look at those void crabs that have already spawned on the top part of the map.
Fadeski with a thumbs up, missed every minion under the tower there. That's got to feel a bit sad.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just slightly off. Oops.
Ah, come on, it's not like it matters, right?
Oh no, definitely don't want Cogball with farm. That's never a thing that's a requirement.
Never. Just hits level 6, however. That is going to be a big point for him. And yeah, I mean, let's get serious here for a second. This Kog'Maw will need the items. This Kog'Maw needs to be the living artillery, quite literally, for DMG. He needs to provide them with a lot of damage from the backline in order for them to survive in the upcoming fights. So Faedsky needs to step up. He needs to actually get those minions, which has been pretty hard on his lane because he's playing against Misfortune plus Renata, who have a lot of kill pressure onto him if he missteps, even with Braum by his side. But now, hopefully, it's going to be a bit easier.
Looks like we'll be building towards the Blade of the Ruin King first. It has often been a Kog'Maw special. Grub number 1, secured by DMG with the smite. Dandem still around as Rich Gang go looking for an angle. Renewal, thumbs up himself, has yet to pull the paranoia, but decides, don't really want to play into this right now. We'll back away. They kind of went on a brief safari, Solari. Looked at the grubs going down, went ooh, ah, and then left. So, you know, a bit of a waste of time, all things said and done.
Why would they say an ooh, ah? Okay, you know what? Don't answer that, please. I can see, again, why they decided not to go. I want to see a bit more aggression from Rich Gang. Like, I understand why you're backing off, but also maybe it's not always the right, the smart, the easiest decision that you should go with, because right there, yes, everybody was so grouped from danger that Paranoia wouldn't have done much, but maybe it would have done something. Maybe you could at least try to fight for the grabs, because in the previous game, the grabs were one of the win conditions from DMG. So maybe this time with Kog'Maw on their side, and with Renekton, who is going to be on the sidelines quite a lot, maybe we don't want to do that, but apparently that's me thinking that, and not Rage Gang.
So far, playing it a little slower. They've gotten the early dragon. Second one spawning in about a minute and a half. So we'll see whether that is then the next target. Still yet to see a paranoia pulled, or yet to see a hijacked ultimate stolen either, which could be potentially very valuable this game, as we've already chatted about a few times. See whether we'll see that coming up to this dragon to try and get a bit of a snowball rolling for Rich Gang, because you said it, I agree. If Rich Gang don't get the ball rolling here, then the ball will roll all over them, courtesy of Bizguard, and then the Kog'Maw behind them.
Yeah, because there is quite a lot of natural scaling for the DMG side. With Orianna and with Kog'Maw that you already mentioned, they are going to be happy going later in the game. Maybe Renekton not so much, but Bucci has been feeling rather well on the top lane. Already has an item completed, already has a kill in his pocket, so he is fine. On Rich Gang, however, that is not the case. They cannot just sit down and wait. We need to see somebody getting accelerated. Either Renewal or Diverse or Rhythm. You have 3 potential members to choose from. But you need to make the choice as Rage Gang, and you need to actually pull the trigger. And we haven't really seen any proactiveness from them. Is that the word?
No.
Proactive? No.
Proactivity or proactiveness both work. They both work.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you. Oh, I know something. Anyway, we haven't seen either of these two wards coming out of Rich Gang so far. They've only gotten the dragon, and we definitely need to see more from them. I want to say we need to see anything. The next dragon is coming up right now. Renewal is already in this part of the map. Maybe finally it's time Rich Gang want to do something if Diverse joins them quickly enough.
Our eyes on it. That dragon has spawned. Bucci up about 1,000 gold individually in this 1v1. That early tower dive has earned him a lot of value. Black Cleaver completed very early on. Is making this Poppy's life absolute hell. Bot side as well, where this Misfortune had an early amount of lane prio. Hasn't really led to much more than a 5-6 CS lead, if that. Not exactly a game-breaking lead there, and it's DMG. But Bizguard roam towards the bot side. Help Fatesky get shoved. And look towards that dragon. Kona nearly dead top side. Gets the buckler shield, but that's about it. Bucci takes a turret shot, but that Poppy on death's door currently.
Renewal, and Diverse. In good parts of the map. Come on, can we do something fun, Rich Gang? Please show us what you're made of.
Woo, that'll count. Down to when flashing for the wind becomes light. He doesn't quite find it. Looks for the shockwave combo, steals it. They get the dragon. In comes the paranoia. There's the fun we were asking for. As Renata throws an Opakovsky, puts up the door. And now Dandem's into the backside. Audacious charging forward, looking for wind becomes lightning. All the while, Diverse caught in a 1v3. Dandem, hand shook back. It's firm indeed. And unfortunately, he doesn't want to be part of this business deal. The command protects on top of him now. Can he look for something more? Wind becomes lightning is available. Dissonance used to speed him up just slightly, and everyone backs away, but it's still a kill to DMG. Dragon, though, was secured by Rich Gang at the very least.
That's at least a dragon. I don't think Rich Gang bot lane can continue anything here right now because they don't have the flashes anymore, and the mana is running extremely low. The dragon is there, but is it really worth it is going to be the big question, because we finally saw the paranoia and we saw Diverse going in with Silas, with a stolen ultimate from Bizguard. And Faetsky was there to hopefully seal the deal with the ultimate, but this Braum pick up for Comsky, man, just single-handedly stopped Rhythm from doing anything in this fight whatsoever. He absorbed the full ultimate right into his shield, and because of that, a very big chunk of very necessary damage from Rich Gang was not there in the fight. And with how scattered it was, there was no really follow-up, since nobody's ahead on the Rich Gang side as well, to try to get a very quick kill. This makes me think that the dragon was totally not worth it for Rich Gang. They might try to work for the upcoming dragons as well, but they don't have the prio to hope for the two dragons to be secured, and at the same time, they are losing the Void Grubs on the top part of the map.
If they can turn it into Hexol, then that is a win con, just because of how strong Hexol is, but I kind of agree, not going to be the easiest right now. There's a pause. Maybe this will give Rich Gang a second to collect themselves. Camera's coming up, and of course, I've taken off the wig. Right, where is it?
I cannot believe how unprofessional you are.
I'm so sorry. I can't hear you currently,
be.
so you could be saying anything right now.
Yeah, I hate you so much, by the way. Like, how dare you... I'm disappointed. Chad, I'm just so disappointed.
Did you say lovely things? I'm assuming you said lovely things.
Yes. Of course
This is not the most well-applied wig of all time. It's kind of sliding down my face a little bit. This is a bit...
It's okay, it's you,
It's fine. It's all right. This is fine.
It's in things.
I can't currently is the issue, because there's a lot of hair kind of in my face.
You don't need to see anything, though. You just need to talk.
True. I just need to yell a lot. And then generally speaking, if it's a kind of the right kind of vibe, things are all right.
Speaking of the good vibes, I am not catching a good vibe from Rich Gang in this game. Can we, while we're having a pause, can we talk about it for a second? Because I am not, unfortunately, this is way too early to say anything, and I think this is a team that can pull out a surprise for us, and I would be happy if that happens, but I'm just not seeing them finding the win con to play around. And even with those two dragons, they would need to be ahead in order to play for those Dragon Souls, the Dragon Soul sword, because otherwise there is still Bucci, who is feeling extremely confident in top lane. He's going to be rotating to the bot lane to apply pressure there. There is Kog'Maw that is starting to become a big problem for them if they don't do anything with him soon enough. And currently I'm not seeing anybody on Rich Gang being able to do anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, eventually Diverse will become stronger, right? And that might help a bit. You've got some combos there, but you need these paranoias to lead to kills, not just the objective.
Yes,
and
exactly.
We are into this issue where it's like, well, you've got a bit of a shotgun comp. You've got the Misfortune bullet time, alongside the Renata hostile takeover, and the paranoia, all at once trying to blow people up. And there's already a little bit of a disconnect with Renata generally being better when people are coming into you, rather than necessarily playing aggressively. It's quite a slow-moving ult, but into game we go. I need to move the hair
can
out of my
remove your
face
wig.
so I can see again. And I can remove it. You don't have to give it away. I was going to pretend I kept it on this time, but that's true. I'm taking it off. It's quite hot.
Ah, sorry. I blew it up for you this time. We shouldn't be doing that. We should let people keep their secrets. But not this time. Anyway, we're still in the game. There is still a 2-0, but the biggest difference between before the pause and right now, 6 grams finally for DMG, right in their pockets. Oh, this is looking so bad for Rich Gang. I'm sorry, how do they keep giving those void grabs away to DMG? Like, this time they don't have a Jinx, but they still have the Kog'Maw and the Renekton, who are going to use those grabs really well.
It was said with a very delightfully joyous tone of voice, but the thing is, underneath it is a core of worry.
pain.
Because Rich Gang gets paid, exactly. That is the correct answer. And they are now in a pretty scary position, down that 2,000 gold mark, down the 6 scrubs. Yes, you got the 2 dragons, and that's important, but I need to see this next paranoia, this next hijacked ult, the next bullet time turn into something meaningful. And that might be around this next dragon in 2 minutes. We'll keep our eyes on it and see what items are completely coming into it. At the very least, we'll be at the 1 item mark, see whether anybody gets to the 2. Hang on, hostile takeover, turns Fatesky berserk, gets a shield though, should be alright to back away. Down to about 10% HP, but not dead. Renewal's around, has got the paranoia, but Dandem there makes it hard for the Nocturne to get in range to find vision and ult.
No, and Fatesky's so far away, he's not going to go down. But at least Rich Gang should be able to threaten this turret right now, having Renew on their side. We're talking about them needing the pressure in order to go for the next dragons. And actually, look, they have found something to play around. The first turret of the game? Yes, it is the first turret of the game. And it's going down on the bot lane exactly where Rich Gang needed to be.
Good news for the Misfortune to pick that one up. Slight lead now towards Rhythm, of course, on the back. Fatesky picks up a Blade of the Ruin King, has got a recurve bow in inventory, so he's not exactly in a bad spot himself, but still, nice value there. Bucci a little low here, but of course, is Renekton, can just press R and look to dominance the way forwards. Conan suddenly realizing he's made a lollipop, so maybe a bit of a hungry snack for a large crocodile. Needs to back away from that tier 1 top.
I don't think lollipops are good for crocodiles, by the way, and Bucci probably
Do you
thinks
know
the same,
that?
decides not to finish that, but he finishes the turret instead. There's a 1-1 in terms of the turrets, and good timing actually for DMG as well, because the Herald is up and running off the map, and if DMG want to take this objective in the 2nd game in a row already, they have the opportunity to do so.
They can certainly look for it. Would be the objective marker of strength there as well. 4 feats of strength. Still waiting on the kills as well to get secured. There's only been 2 kills this game. Quite a slow one so far. See how it works. I will raise umbrage though with the fact that you said that crocodiles don't naturally eat lollipops. How do you know that? They might well be sugar fiends. This is a fantasy crocodile. How do you know they don't eat lollipops on the regular?
Because crocodiles have a lot of teeth, and sugar is bad for teeth. I don't think nature would make them eat sugar.
Okay. That's actually a very valid response. I hear your point, and I give you. It's probably not. Maybe it's like a treat thing.
Once in a while, yeah. But he already had it once on the top lane.
Right. It would be more. We can't have it more than every 10 minutes or so. It'd be too much.
Yeah. That might be the time, actually.
Maybe. I'm gonna look for an angle. Stolen shockwave, hijacked and available. Dandem now sat in this banana bush. The vision control very much in DMG's favor. But Rich Gang going to try and force their way in. Diverse left in danger. The paranoia comes on down as the shockwave stolen. Bailout on top of Diverse. Trying to heal his way up. They've blown up Dandem. Hostile takeover across 3 is fantastic. Still claim the feats of war by those they kill off the Poppy. Bucci desperately scary in the backside. Fatesky trying to play this one out. Flash away from Rhythm. Keeps him alive. Flash on forward for Bucci. A ruthless predator as he slices and dices his way on through. It's not just lollipops. You got to taste the man flesh too. And Renata will bail herself out, but not find a way back to life as Bucci goes on a killing spree. Turns out you go into the crocodile's home, and he's there to snap them all up. Can't quite claim renewal at the end of it all, but a phenomenal fight from the top laner of DMG.
There is a saying about bears, and bear with me, okay? That once a bear tastes human flesh, he cannot stop trying to go and kill humans for flesh again. I feel like this is what's happening with Bucci here, but before we continue with that, finally, a good ultimate from Rhythm that lands, that deals a lot of damage. They kill Dandem, but right after the things go south for them, first of all, because Rhythm finds himself in a really tricky situation here, has to flash away, because otherwise Beastguard and Kamska have an opening on him, but then Bucci finds an opening and actually finishes him down. Bucci here is such a big asset for DMG. First of all, being in the fight as a top laner, you don't always see that. Second of all, providing all that damage. And he's sitting on 2 items right now. And Rich Gang are not ready to deal with a crocodile that has tasted already how Rich Gang tastes like, and he likes it. He likes it a lot.
2,500 gold up. Pair that up with a Brawn passive and a W on that Renekton, and anybody caught in the way, that will eat a hell of a lot of damage very fast. Shojin complete now as well, first person. 2/2 items, this Crocodile could not be a bigger threat. As strong as they're going to get. Somewhere out there, Aragon is nodding along, going, yes, Bucci, my son. We know what he's like around Renekton players. Dragon's still up. This would still be soul point for Rich Gang. DMG go back to start it up. Diverse, though, stolen the dominance. Can look to play again. Mash comes on down. Paranoia comes on in. Lollipoppy goes to the Keeper's Verdict. Knocks Bucci out. That's the Renekton out. In goes Renewal. Looking for the engages Diverse, but Renewal had to flash on out the bullet time. Not fantastic. Body block by the Unbreakable. Returning with the Hex Gate. Over the wall. Diverse tries to go. Secured the soul, though. Or support point, sorry, have Rich Gang. Still Conan in danger. He needs to back away, stunned up with that Ruthless Predator. And a Cull of the Meek should surely bring Conan down just out of range. Poppy with the Steadfast Presence buys some time, but that's all it is. Another kill. 3 dead in trade for the Dragon. Soul points secured for Rich Gang, but it comes at hefty cost.
Ooh. This is another dragon that is not worth it for Rich Gang at all, I'm afraid. First of all, that is a 502 Crocodile from the top lane on the side of DMG. That is really hard to deal with. A really good decision from Conan on the spot to remove Bucci from the fight, which gives DMG some time to try to deal with the enemies. But when they go into the fight itself, what is very interesting, and if we get the replay, I want you to look at Faetsky, because Brother Faetsky stays as far away from the enemies as possible. Even when the ultimate from Rhythm comes out, he's trying to hide behind his teammates. And while doing that, all the time, he's dealing consistent damage onto the enemies. And he can't afford to go away from them, because with his ultimate, he has a lot of range to keep dealing damage to the enemies while being away from the line of fire from them. He's 304 as a result, just completed his second item recently. This time, DMG are having 2 really big carries on their side, and Rich Gang keep losing more and more despite having 3 dragons in their pockets.
It's proving problematic. At least they've got that soul point, but at least it's having to do a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, because this Kog'Maw, very, very strong. Unusual to see this champion, but right now, looking scary. Paranoia, though, on top of Faetsky, who doesn't have summoners, but just stats and autos. The living artillery comes online. Firewall Barrage and a couple ultimates as he'll find the mark. Doesn't need a spotter, just a continual R button press. Decent shield, keeps Nodu alive. 3 in a row, won't quite kill off that Renata, who burns the locket to stay alive. Diverse pull back with the shockwave. Now the clockwork wind-up begins to sting. Throwing some Petricite bursts and a Kingslayer or 2, but Dandem is here, and Shinzao looking to find that rebel from his home country. Audacious charges forward, stolen shockwave onto Bizguard. Command Protect, buy some time. Wind becomes lightning, and Diverse wishes he diversified his portfolio a little bit more, as he finds himself 0 and 4 this game.
Let's be fair, it took 3 people this time to kill him, okay? He was surviving for a long time. The healing on Silas can actually be really obnoxious. And as a ranged mid laner, for Beastguard, it was so hard to fight with him. No do. That is
fantastic.
admirable. He did not fall down to anybody on the side of enemy team, okay? You can respect that. You should, in fact, respect that. Also, Rich Gang could have respected the fact that the Herald was still on the map a little bit more. Goes into the pockets of DMG yet again with 6 grabs already, with so many turrets already. All the outer turrets actually already down on the side of Rich Gang. This is going to be not just an inner turret. Judging by what DMG did in the previous game with the Herald in a very similar situation, this could very well be an inhibitor, at least one on the side of Rich Gang going down.
That will be something to keep our eyes on. Can definitely look for a very aggressive shot. Bucci just got jumped on, flashes over the wall after the slice and dice. Rich Gang roll for it and don't come up on top. They skate out. Do at least get the flash off Bucci, but that's the trade for the ultimate. Should be off cooldown, I feel, with the Hex Plate. In time for this dragon at the very least, but another swing and a miss for Rich Gang.
By the way, Articon is up and running. Maybe this time we're going to pay some due diligence to that objective, but not right now, apparently, because DMG are hunting for something else to do on the map. Still have the Herald in the pockets of the jungler, so maybe they want to open up the top lane, and after that rotate to whatever objective is going to be available on the map. But in the meantime, yes, you're right, it is going to be the time for everybody to rotate to the bot lane, because otherwise that could be a Dragon Soul for Rich Gang, and this soul is pretty strong. That could potentially be the turning point for Rich Gang, even though it is still going to be very hard for them to winning this game, even with the Soul, because of how far behind they are compared to DMG.
Resets begin to come on through. 2 items across the board right now for DMG. Not quite there for Rich Gang, though. You'll note it, that's just that Haunting Guys in inventory for Diverse. Not a full Leandries or Riftmaker. Trying to remember what exactly that build path is off the top of my head. Be one of the two. Either way, not quite there. Can be problematic. You've got a 9-stack Dark Seal in Bizguard's inventory again. In stealing souls all series long and looking to do it here again. In the river, in control of DMG. They don't want to give up this smite fight, though, this time around. As Rhythm needs to be a bit wary, strutting away pretty fast here. The slow from the loyalty program and the Make It Rain should keep them safe.
Misfortune, fortunately, is a pretty fast champion, because losing her right now before the dragon spawns could have been a disaster for Reach Gang. But even alive, she's far away from the dragon pit, and everybody is far away on the Reach Gang side from the dragon pit, as they should be, because look at that. There is a Herald on the mid lane that is going to remove this turret, thanks to everybody from DMG pretty much being here. On top of that, there is no entrance towards the dragon pit for Reach Gang anymore, with Bucci especially right now destroying this inner turret on the bot lane, and their jungle being so heavily warded by DMG. There is no way for Reach Gang to go and try to fight for this dragon. The smartest decision right now would be to give it up and focus on something else, which in their case would be trying to protect their base from incoming minions, because they will keep on coming.
At the very least, Diverse trades out to get our turret. It's their second turret of the game, and that's it. So it gets them a little bit of gold for the objective bounty. DMG now starting up the dragon. Baron is up, though. Now, Rich Gang looking to trade. They're the ones on soul points. They can afford to give up an individual dragon or two and try and drag DMG across the map. That's been the plan so far. Leave artillery, used to scout out a bush or two, and Nodu on a flank angle, but that leaves them a little bit deep here. Should have a Hex Gate to escape. Will now look to get across the board here. Dandem not in range to threat.
Diverse was on the bot lane all this time. He had the teleport available, so actually that was an interesting move from Reach Gang here. Buying some time, delaying the dragon for the time being, while at the same time giving Diverse time on the bot lane, because completed his item, by the way. It was Riftmaker in the end, not Leandris, but he managed to get in some additional gold. He managed to put the wave in a better state on the bot lane, because right now it is pushing into DMG side, which gives more breathing room for DMG. They don't have to worry about the bot lane at the very moment as much as they had to before. But the dragon is still up and running. The dragon is still looking at them, being like, hey, would you like a little soul? They would like it very much, but I don't think they still have any entrance to it whatsoever. And that's why they're going towards the Baron again. What's the plan this time?
Just keep dragging them away from the dragon. They're going to leave 2 members on the dragon to try and rush it. Bucci has got TP, has just finished his 3rd item, so he can get over here pretty fast. Atakan also up and available. Conan started up. It's on vision right now. Bizguard and Calmstar are around to try and threaten, so Dragon's just picked up, and RG can't really trade that for anything else on the other side of the map.
There are so many ways for DMG to check. They don't need to send anybody to be face checking, especially their most precious members of the team. And that makes Rich Gang's attempts to trap somebody in the bush, like what they were trying to do around the Baron there, pretty much impossible to execute unless DMG misstep. But as you can see, Bizguard was not planning to misstep there whatsoever, even though he doesn't have a book yet. He doesn't want to die. The dragon is down. It's the first dragon for DMG. The Baron and Atakan both are still alive and looking at somebody to take them down. And now it's the question to DMG. Would we like DMG to be a little bit more aggressive? Would we like to pull the trigger? Because so far, even though DMG have been in control of this map for pretty much the whole game, for the last couple of minutes, ever since the last dragon spawned and they released the Herald, it has been Rich Gang dictating what DMG are going to do.
Very least, 3 items have now started to come on through. We mentioned Bucci's one, but we just saw the Jack Show get completed for Fateski, so it's the pseudo-Varus build. When you start to go tank later on as well, this Kog'Maw with the range, with the Ghost of the Flash, and now the Jack Show, gonna get increasingly hard to bring down by the burst combo of Rich Gang. Onto the Baron they go with those items complete and saying, yep, we now feel like we are strong enough to start this up. Come on then, let's go. Bucci jumped on. Will break the unspeakable horror renewal. Is actually pretty speakable right now when Bucci says you don't frighten me. And Nocturne feels a bit sad about that, because it's like his whole reason for existing.
It's his whole point, exactly. And He's not living to his name as Nocturne, he's not living to his name as jungler right now as well, because unfortunately for Rich Gang, the Baron goes into the hands of DMG, which means now finally they have the reason to continue the aggression on the map. Now finally they have something to help them to continue pushing into the enemies, because it has slowed down a little bit for some time, but now that they have the Dragon and the Baron in their pockets and still those 6 grubbies, we will see DMG pushing through the side lanes. The top lane still has the inner turret. Both the mid lane and the bot lane look extremely delicious for DMG to try to take down the inhibitors with the Baron buff. And on top of that, they can spread through the map. They're very strong. They have Renekton, who is not afraid of anybody on the side lanes. It will require Rich Gang to send a lot of people to try to stop him, so everybody else can do whatever they want on the other lanes.
Uchi is so strong now. He just picked up a Randuin's. Won't find the interrupt there. Thought he might find Conan, but gets away with the recall. Needed to. Well, I think this 2-level advantage. Renekton actually now just... No, it is 2. I just miscounted the 15 and 16 there for a second. Excuse me. Clearly need to put my glasses on a bit more correctly on my face. Either way, a very strong Renekton. Yeah, that's exactly it. Just can't see through all this glorious 80s glam rock hair.
You know what? It's worth it.
I do look pretty fabulous, it's true.
You do. I mean, with a wig.
Okay. Was that really a necessary clarification? I could have lived with just that first statement. Okay.
Yes.
Always so kind. I remember, like, about half an hour ago, you went, today I'm going to be nice to you. Was
I changed
like
my mind.
Limited... Okay, you changed your mind. That's fine. Okay, moving on from that is DMJ are going to break this tier 2, like Solari just broke my heart. Going to jump onto Diverse. Bucci in a 1 versus 4. Still really tanky. He's got a Sterak's to work with yet. Dominus now gets proc. Looks to turn it around. Massive Cull the Meat Kill. Slicing, dicing, desperately trying to get some more value. Rhythm finally stays alive, but all the while the base is going down. You killed the Crocodile. Congratulations, you've gone dinosaur hunting. This is League of Legends, not Turok. You're playing the wrong kind of game. Save your base.
They got themselves a designer designer back, but I don't think it was worth it in the end, because DMG are going to take game 2 as soon as they're done dealing with this turret and maybe killing somebody else just for dessert.
Minions have been aggroed a little bit by that second inhibitor. Hilarious. The heal of the Nodu as the Biowell barrage begins to be activated for about 12 seconds apiece. Fatesky is the strongest damn champion in the game. Throws out a Caustic Spettle. Continue to try and auto that. Jackshow in Rhythm will look to get something back. The Braum does die. Flash on foot, but the Braum's done. Brings down Rhythm to that bailout. Will not survive. Renewal tries to buy some time. The hostile takeover is there, but Fatesky just heals his way through everything. Finally falls. But Conan and Nodu, the only 2 remaining. Knocked up into the sky is this Poppy. Just about staying alive. Enough shields to buy some time. The Stolen Crescent Guard with the hijack. Will keep it alive, but Bucci's respawn is teleported in. And the base ends to the minion. It is an absolute fracas in the base. The GMG come out on top. They are now 2-0 in the lead.
17-5, by the way. DMG have looked dominant in map number 1, but they have outdone themselves in this map number 2. And I'm afraid that my prediction for 5 games today is not going to be correct, which makes me really sad, because I want to see more from Rich Gang. They give us a promise. They give us some interesting drafts to work around, but they don't actually execute anything in the game.
Yeah, it's not as well executed as you'd like, just like this wig being used as a sort of pseudo hat right now. Desk, take it away with that beautiful analogy.
Okay. Never mind, it's 2-0 in favor of DMG Rich Gang. They talked about scrims, it's not looking hot, and yet again we have to jump to the same thing we did before. Draft, and your expectations of draft, and what can you achieve with it. And I believe DMG have got out of draft with the combo to begin with, the upper hand.
Not a fan, to be honest, of how things started from the draft this time for Rich Gang. I'm not. It feels like the team comp lacks a lucidity, like a synergy that we want to see from Rich Gang to make things work, right? And even to be fair, like we talk about the comp itself, but like I just think individually, it's just like Silas. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great, and if I speak, I'm in trouble.
Okay, you want the scientific term? Is there's absolutely no synergy in their drafts, and I feel like it starts from the draft. I really enjoyed how they started with, Orianna B1. Okay, we see Darius ban. Potentially they want to play towards Olaf. Standing still AD carries. Hate playing versus Olaf. Let's R1 the Silas. Fantastic. And then the Nocturne comes through and you're like, oh, that's a full dive team. But then a Misfortune comes through, and then a Poppy, and a Renata. And I see how these pieces sort of individually are supposed to work in lane. Like Poppy kind of neutralizes Renekton, and then you've got Renata into Braum, which is great because you're playing an Enchanter. But then the whole wombo combo with Misfortune is broken. Silas doesn't really find a home anywhere. And then you've got a Nocturne with barely any priority lanes and nobody to dive in with. And I just feel like these drafts lack identity and they lack a strategy, and I feel like Rich Gang has been looking very, very lost because there's just no certain way that they could be playing these drafts versus DMG.
Yeah, and objectives through the map, they're bleeding out in favor of DMG as well. If you get a game with Renekton getting the lead on the top side, even versus a Poppy, and you get 6 grubs, it's gonna be complicated. You saw at the end of the game, there was a lot of Void Lings just jumping in. And when you jump into the team fights, yeah, it reflects what you're saying. It's an echo.
Yeah, and take a look. It all starts terribly because Diverse is just done so right from the get-go. But watch Bucci, man. There's just no answer for the carnage that he deals to everyone on the side of Rich Gang. You know, Rhythm's walking up so far to try and finish off some kills, but Bucci is left untouched. And at this point in the game, in this mid-game stage, considering he was already a little bit ahead here too, like, there is no answer for a champion like Renekton, and then you're just enabling him to really pop off and go hard. Holy moly, most damage in the game.
I feel like in this particular clip as well, Chemtech Dragon must have done way more damage onto DMG than Rich Gang did. It's one of a pretty high damage Dragon, so very tanky as well, so it's such a pain to deal with as well. And DMG were just constantly tanking that as they were taking down Rich Gang, and the fact that combo was pretty much just never threatened in this whole combo. Like, the reason you go for the dabs of Renekton and Sylas is that you want a full diving composition. Like, both teams have been pulling the blind eye towards Kai'Sa. I feel like Kai'Sa's one of the best AD carries in the current meta because she makes those types of compositions shine, because she is one of the very few AD carries, if not the only one, that can suddenly just jump into the backline and delete someone, and it just wasn't the case.
When you highlight this is Renekton on this game, and you told us while we were in game, once Renekton pops off, it looks like a tremendous character, like it was released in 2025.
Okay, you need to calm down. Renekton doesn't look like he was released in 2025, but Butch had a
when
pretty
he gets
good game.
ahead.
Okay, when he gets ahead,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, he was 1.3k gold up at 15, right?
That's wild. Those stats are crazy. They're gross. I mean, the damage share is crazy too, but as Georgia pointed out, it's really the money, right? He was part of the Rich Gang this time around, right? Look at, like, 1300 ahead at 14 minutes, like, plates full, and your top laner has almost 1.5k gold lead over their opponent in a matchup where he's counterpicked and really should be struggling against Poppy. So great performance from Bucci, and my prediction for game number 3 is we see Fateski be the MVP. Fateski's played well, don't get me wrong.
Whoa. No. He said 3-1 Rich Gang. You can't say Fateski's the MVP, buddy.
Okay,
Look.
well,
how is Rich
Okay,
Gang
you know
gonna
what?
turn this around is the question.
All right. I'll say 2 things. First thing I was gonna say, Bizgar popped off, Bucci popped off. Now it's Fateski's turn. All right, that's what I was gonna say. Secondly, because I thought Renewal was gonna be the guy for a game, but mate, he's been like the lowest damage on his team 2 games in a row. Like, he can't even play. He can't play like the Wukong, the Nocturne. These are 2 champions that do not spam gank. They don't gank early. They're not early game pressure champions, right? They need to get 6, need to get 9, whatever. They're kind of chill early. He does not work with chill. I don't want him to chill, or at least it does not work with Rich Gang. I want him to go crazy. The Pantheon's been permabanned, yes, but there are other options, and that's what I want to see out of him. That's why I think we could get that extra game out.
He's getting
Well,
sassy.
with that in mind, they picked red side to go for match point in favor of DMG. I can't believe I've seen this, so might as well clean my eyes with a little break. I'll see you soon. Wow. Welcome back to match point in favor of DMG. Rich Kang have to actually do 3 games in a row if they want to stay alive on lower bracket. Keep in mind that today is elimination day. Whoever loses is out of the bracket and they will no longer be able to fight for that opportunity to go to Denmark to actually get some treats and pastries from Solari. She's the baker of NLC, promoted. With this in mind, before we jumped into this draft, Rich Kang, red side, Pantheon is definitely gonna be banned. They need to use this. They need to counter pick. It's red sides. Like, what is happening?
Okay, essentially they did counter pick most of their lanes. Like the Poppy acted as a neutralizer into the Renekton. You have Misfortune that hard shoves, and Enchanter into Braum. Like, I feel like counter picking was not ever my issue with them. I feel like the red side draft in terms of pure lane per lane was fine. I just feel like the cohesion has been lacking in the way they want to play. So I feel like an easy early game strategy, if you want to play for full late game, go for that. But I remember that you need an early game bridge, or if you want to play full go ahead, minute 3, minute 4, just perma-gank, go for something like a Javan perhaps.
Yes, that's it. I'm thinking of the junglers I want to see, right? So Neferi, well, okay. Volibear, decent. Volibear could work. Jarvan.
That's right.
Viego as well. These are 3 champions that we know Renewal plays, and we know that I would personally like to see him play as well, because it's just, yeah, these kind of like slow early game champs, it hasn't worked well. So Neferi plus Pantheon, they're gone. Yes, Renewal has had a very quiet series so far, but let's not forget that DMG, they are banning him out. Neferi Pantheon, he's eating 2 bans in the first rotation every single time. That Darius as well could also be a Renewal ban, though. I reckon it's a little bit of both top and jungle.
Wait, when? Ooh, but instant Ambessa.
I mean, the 2 champions that neutralize Ambessa are gone. Both Cassandra and Poppy are out of the equation, and there is no Jace to bully her early on, no Gnar to play range, so I feel like Ambessa hardly has any proper answers on the top side of the map, especially since none of these 2 guys have touched Gwen and Rumble. They've just completely gone through all drafts.
We ain't getting an aggressive jungler out of Renewal this game. He's on Sejuani duty. I mean, Sejuani can gank, but he's not quite. It's not quite, you know, those like bruiser, those fighters that can also carry. All right, you're gonna be very happy to see that one. There you go, Georgia. They finally slapped up with Kai'Sa. Finally, it's happened. Fatesky's gonna be piloting that one. It's a strong first rotation of the draft here. Very aggressive. A lot of jump in. A lot of aggression. And Yone Sejuani on the other side as well. Want to do similar things. We could get a lot of buying heads in this game.
Honestly, props to coaching staff for DMG as well. I feel like there's already... You can see the theme of DMG's draft is everyone goes into Rich Gang right here. And I love the answer right here. If this is a Xayah, I prefer it over Ezreal. It's not actually going to be. Because Ezreal does get countered by Kai'Sa, and also you want to play as defensive as you want with an AD carry when your team has Yone and Sejuani, so I would have preferred to potentially see the Xayah, but the Ezreal is still pretty, quote-unquote, safe on that turn.
Yes. So these picks, both of them, the Xayah and the Ez, are just keep yourself safe versus all that jump in, all that engage that you're already seeing from DMG, and we'll probably see a little bit more of. My big question mark, because I actually like what both these teams have done so far with the draft, although I do think like it's kind of risky having Yone plus Sejuani versus a lot of dive, because you also want to be diving. It just comes down to like a stat check at that point. But also it's like, is this really the kind of composition that we've seen Rich Gang succeed with in the past? We've not seen a lot of success. They've not won a single game yet in NLC, but when they've looked decent, it's not come from these kind of identities in a draft, right? So that's my question mark so far, as we see what Rich Gang decide to go for in the support / top side of the map.
Support-wise, it's rough. It's rough. Everyone is gone.
They're
Of
gone.
those that can actually be a wall. We've seen Nodu play Thresh, but with Ezreal,
I would have loved to see a Karma here for lane priority. Press Ezreal doesn't really scream to me a successful bot lane into Kai'Sa, Nautilus. But primarily, I just want to see what Dandom is going to choose to play. Because Javan is not particularly a great champion when you play into champions that can jump out of your Cataclysm. And he definitely has to go for something maybe AP-ish. So I'm looking towards the Maokai potentially that sets up, can also dive into the backline. Diana is another thing that jumps to mind. He's not going to go that crazy. Okay, it's the Maokai.
Yeah, chill in a little bit. Diana would have been nice, but you've already got a decent amount of AP damage in your team as well, assuming this
He has
is gonna be a
Diana in
mage
his
mids.
pool. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it would have been fun for sure. That's true. So I think Ryze, is like a hella underrated champion versus Yone. Like all that lockdown, so nice. You can actually kind of go toe to toe, and you can itemize into some armor. We're gonna have to see. I mean, maybe just the rumble for top. I don't know if Connor may pilot this Yone, but I would say it's probably going to the versus hand. But we need some magic damage, right? We need some magic damage from Rich Gang. If not, like Frozen Heart on Ryze, Ninja Tabby across the board, or Zhonya's on Kai'Sa. Like you're kind of donezo, right? So this might be Sejuani top, right? And Renewal on this Volibear. That's maybe a little bit much, but because like I feel like you know you could go for like an AP top as well in the solo lane on Volibear. So we'll see how this one shapes out, because this is interesting. This is an interesting little like turn, I would say, here in the draft with that Volibear, and I like it in Tabuchi too. Like you can really go toe to toe with an Ambessa with a champion like Volibear.
I think I like Volibear so much lately just because Unending Despair was hit pretty hard for the top lane. That's why you don't see a lot of Volibear top lane anymore. I would have preferred to see it in the jungle, as Foxy said, but then you break apart Yone and Sejuani, so it doesn't really make much sense. I mean, this is DMG Draft Kingdom, I believe, in this particular series, and I'm going to continuously keep going with them. I feel like they have a fantastic go all-in draft, and even if it doesn't work, you know what? Biscard can press his Rise ult and take them all into the backline instantly, so I favor them in this game. I think it's going to be a 3-0.
well, the desk is looking at DMG as a 3-0 clean sweep. Rich Gang, can you surprise us? Talking about surprise, let's toss it to the casters at least one more time. Initial Spirit and Pastrelati. Take it away.
Listen, I might have been a little bit too harsh on Initialize in the previous game. I have to admit that right now, chat. I have to apologize to him once he's back, because I have been unfair. He has been nice. He has been acting nice towards everybody, including me, and I think I went a little bit too harsh on him. That's why he's not with me right now. But it's okay, because you know what? At least like nobody's going to stop me from yapping about what this game has in store for us, because Damn, I wish he was here to say the smart things I'm about to say. They don't come to my
right
mind
here.
without him.
Hello.
Oh no, you're back. Oh god, I was
I
just
am.
telling everybody how happy I was to not have you around me anymore.
Wow!
Ah!
That's
Damn.
bad timing. I had a really unfortunate timing with an IRL thing with my neighbor turning up. It was bad timing. So I am back now, but unfortunately managed to escape back to work. We're into game for this one.
Let's go. So, actually, since you're back, can we talk a little bit about what's happened in the draft and what we expect from it? Because I expect a lot from DMG's draft. I feel like it has a very clear identity. Like, this is a draft you can put a name to. But when I look at Reach Gang, I can see pieces of, like, of combinations that want to be doing some things together. Like, I can see Sejuani plus Volibear, I can see Sejuani plus Yone, for example. I can see Ezreal plus Yone. But I'm not seeing how all 5 of these pieces of puzzle are going to work together. And that's what worries me about Reach Gang in this game. What is your read on that?
I mean, the thing is, we've had that conversation, like, this entire series, right? With levels of when is... What is the cohesion between the drafts and stuff? And, like, you've got an all-in comp here at the least. If, like, you land a Sejuani out, the Volibear goes in, the Yone goes in. That's cool. The Ezreal can stay safe while all that's happening. That's all well and good. But I do think DMG, assuming they're in the river first, have got quite a lot of tools to manage that. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
The thing is, though, I can see the all-in, I can see the potential of that for Reach Gang. However, I'm looking at Volibear and I'm looking at Yone, and those 2 are going to be the biggest question marks for me. Because if Reach Gang play their cards correctly, this could be, again, a game, that could take us to the series. I want particularly to see Diverse being ahead on that Yone, because Yone can do wonders in fights if he's ahead, if he's allowed to be ahead on level, ahead with items, especially paired up with Sejuani. The combination there is insane. With Volibear, it's pretty much the same. He can have so much prio over the top part of the map in the early game with Sejuani if used correctly, because as Volibear, you want to start getting accelerated as early as possible. Otherwise, if either of these lanes is not getting ahead, it's going to fall strictly on Rhythm's hands to try to carry the game later, which is going to be really hard for him because everybody on this side of DMG is going to be looking at him and being like, hey, I want to press all my buttons and kill you right now. What you gonna do about that?
Yeah, that one's going to be interesting. And I'm also curious to see what kind of build Conan goes towards on this Volibear. Because obviously we have got a Volibear top enjoyer in the league. Maybe a guy called Baus, you may have heard of him. Small-time player, you know, not really a big
I
deal.
haven't really heard of him before.
Yeah, never really heard of him. Definitely not won a Mere Masters or been a big streamer or anything. And definitely not, and you know, there's a bit of a Volibear enjoyer, but he tends to go towards that kind of cosmic drive. Just go all in and just heal your way through absolutely everything style build. So I'm curious to see what Conan decides towards on that. It has often been a potential answer into things like that, Ambessa. And Bucci had such a good game too as well. Monstrously ahead on that Renekton. See whether he can do it here again, despite that pseudo counter pick.
Wonder how much of a counter this pick is actually going to turn out to be. Because knowing Bucci, seeing Bucci already how he's feeling in the series today and having him play on Ambessa. But wait for it, because no, you might not be playing for so long after this. DMG are looking very aggressive on the bot lane.
Get the stun there onto Dandon, flashes away, needs to keep running with the phase rush, won't quite do it, and that means Rhythm gets a kill. Nice angle on in. First blood goes the way of Rich Gang.
So much damage immediately popped onto Dandam. It feels like he just started going into the enemies, or rather trying to get away from them, and immediately he got almost popped up with all his health. Sejuani in the early game is a very fun champion, man. I genuinely love Sejuani, but I also love when Thresh does things like that. That's exactly what Reach Gang need.
Hang on. Notu needs to be very afraid as Fatesky gets the kill and gets away to safety. Kamsky in danger, may need to kind of hop away. Hooks on in, lands the W. Can't quite get the kill as Rhythm has the barrier to work with. It's all a bait and ends up being a 1-for-1. Rhythm now on 2 kills.
Not sure if that sacrifice in the end from Kamsky was necessary, but at least it's a barrier out of Ezreal, and at least it's some additional style points for DMG. I was saying how this looked good for the bot lane of Reach Gang. It did not in the end, because Payetsky, even though he had to use absolutely all the Summoner spells, he is the one getting the kill out of this. But Rhythm is on 2-0 already. Rhythm is maybe going to be the main character in this story for us in this game, because he's already ahead. He has 600 gold lead on this bot lane. And Ezreal can do also really fun things here if he's allowed to build up as fast as possible in this combination. And if Bucci doesn't... What? Man, Ambessi's a fun champion.
Oh boy, managed to get out to safety, had to flash, the level 6 came on through for Conan. Bizguard phase rushing away in mid lane, stays safe as well. Get away from this one, Dandem forced to back out of his own jungle, the teleport back into lane from Bucci, gets the pickaxe. As Conan already has the hold of that Aether Wisp, and has already burned the TP, so we'll just look to reset here with the wave shove regardless.
Now my eyes are actually on renewal. Importantly, Sejuani doesn't have level 6 yet, which is always a very big asset for Sejuani. But there is an objective already on the map, and there is another objective coming up pretty much right now. And I wonder if Renewal wants to push things towards either of these two, potentially towards the Dragon, because he has a bot lane with a really strong-looking AD carry already, with a Shin already in the pockets of that Ezreal. So that should be the case for Richka.
Keep our eyes on it. Dandem spots out the roam mid from Rich Gang. This guy needs to keep running away and will do so, but loses most of his HP bar as that's happening. Rich Gang will wander back towards this dragon and perhaps look to pick up the early objective there. Rhythm with a shove down towards that bot side. The Ezreal a healthy amount ahead in this bot side, and a player that I think if we were asking for someone to step up here as a potential carry for the side of Rich Gang, Rhythm's one of the foremost members to do so on the Ezreal with his 2-0 lead. It's a good spot to potentially start a comeback for Rich Gang. Long way to go yet. This is the best early game they've had all series long.
Yes, it has a promise. It's looking much better for Rich Gang than it looked in the previous 2 games, that's for sure. They're having the power in the bot lane. Rhythm is getting some more money from the turret plates in the bot lane. They have the dragon now, thanks to Renewal. However, 3rd game in a row already. Rich Gang don't even look at the grabs this time. They decide to just give up all 3 of them to the side of DMG. Granted, DMG don't have such a big threat, arguably, as they had in the previous 2 games, but they still have Ambessa, they still have Kai'Sa. Oh, and actually they have Rysor in the mid lane. Forget I said anything. You should not give grabs to a team composition like that.
Hook lands, but a nice buffer out from Rhythm there. Keeps him safe. Reset coming on through from Fatesky. He's got the BF sword in inventory, so looking to go towards a more AD option. Not going to be a Kraken Slayer or anything either by the looks of it.
Or not yet, at least. We have seen the situations when, it starts as an AD build, but then as the game progresses, as she gets more money into the pockets, it starts to change up a little bit with more AP included there as well. So we need to give this game a little bit more time to see how it's going to progress. But so far, the time is given to both of the teams because it's a little bit of a downtime on the map with the bot lane of DMG rotating to the top lane. A little bit more money, trying to deal with Cotton, give some more breathing room to Bucci, which is something I really want to see happening for Bucci right now. He has been having it rough on the top lane this time, and he needs a little bit of break, because you know that Bucci can deliver so much for your team if you make sure he's not behind.
That'll be the idea. Bucci trying to hold on here a little bit, has managed to rectify after that slightly scary moment with the level 6 disadvantage. Minor gold lead to Conan. The big one, of course, in this game right now is that Ezreal we've kind of noted, who's pretty healthily on the way towards the Trinity Force. Not completed yet, but will be there ahead of schedule, you'd have to imagine, after the 2 kills early on. And ourselves Grub set 2, spawning in about 2.5 minutes, and Dragon shortly after that in 3. So we've got a couple minutes to play for lanes, trying to get some plates up. Rhythm picking up another one topside means he's extending this gold lead up to 1,000 or so, so getting a lot of value out of this early laning phase.
Which is such good news for Rich Gang right now. It's Rhythm getting more money, and it's them fighting for Prio on the top lane right before, hopefully, the next grabs will spawn, and hopefully Rich Gang are going to pay some more attention to them this time. But at the same time, the next dragon, yes, you said, is going to come up a little bit later after that. And look at Conan. That says there's some danger around him.
Is it going to matter? Has got no flash, does have an ultimate, but I'm not sure bringing the storm will be enough, but over comes Renewal, looking to turn this one around. It's a Freljordian Rumble. They'll pick up a kill, turn back around though as the Volibear dies, so it ends up being the 1-for-1. Importantly though, that kill does go towards the Kai'Sa, which is pretty valuable. Bucci, left in a 1v2 under the tower on top side though, may also be in danger. How aggressively are we going to see this get played? Rhythm jumped on a little bit there. The box comes on down, but Bucci managed to slide away for a moment or two, but a good death sentence puts Bucci in danger. Teleport now coming on through. Second teleport now spawned, but it will be a faster one from DMG. Bizgold looking for an angle. There comes the Lantern, looking for a route onto that no-do Thresh. In comes Diversus, Lantern on in. Misses the Fate Sealed awfully though, and just dies!
No! This is the only thing you were not supposed to do in this situation, Diverse. And he goes in and dies, and Bucci stays alive thanks to all this shielding. Wow. Rich Gang, at least we gotta give him that they're looking for opportunities, but maybe not in the right places. Maybe going so aggressive onto Ambessa on the top lane was not the right play to go for there. Either way, Diverse is dead as a result of it. Rich Gang have suffered an unnecessary death there. Does it give any fighting advantage to DMG though? Because we're talking about a kill going towards a support. Am I reading that right? Did Komsky get the kill in the end? No, it's impossible.
I think he
I've
did,
seen
yes.
things. No. No way. Okay, no, it actually happened. No, which is not the best news, but hey, at least before that we had some kills going to Faetsky's. He already has the item completed, which I always forget the name of.
Wild arrows.
Wild arrows. It doesn't look like... I don't know, it doesn't
It's a pair
match.
of arrows flying from the sky.
They don't look wild enough to me. I don't know, something is off here. But
It needs to be wilder. He needs to be wearing a face mask and a wig.
in there. No.
Where's the wig? Exactly. Where? That's not 80s glam rock enough.
Yes, exactly. Give these arrows a wig at least or something. I'm seeing how crazy and wild on the map though right now because DMG is still getting those grabs, but at least Rich Gang have some moves around these grabs. Maybe at least they take one.
Should do. Over comes Dandon with that Nature's Grass though, looking to turn this one around, backs away. Hook is traded with Karmsky. Blue team, get that grubs. That'll be Faetsky securing it for DMG. Full 6. They get a kill back onto that Nautilus. And the Thresh is traded as well. Bizgard now in danger, trying to run away, just out of range of the Permafrost. Flash for the root. They're trying to get some damage as the suppression comes on through. Rhythm in danger. Diverse has to back away as he rebinds his own Rhythm. Desperately low with Faetsky, continues to run away. Dandon puts out Conan, who was looking for Faetsky. And they manage to find another twisted advance. Diverse will feel the fate of a couple more. Shields come on down, a Rune Prison comes on through. It is a mess out here. Diverse goes over the wall with that Q3. Conan running away as Karpsky's respawned and allows another to come on forward, trying to stack the Q off the grubs. And Faetsky on next to no HP. He's 20 after regen. They get away with an absolute bloodbath of a fight.
He had around 10 HP when he got out of this. Man, I don't know how Faetsky managed to survive that, but you have to want to see something more from Diverse, unfortunately, because it feels like Yone should be such a pivotal thing in this team composition for Rich Gang. But first of all, he comes here a little bit late. Yes, it's Kamska already down, but it's a support for a support exchange for both of the teams. But then Diverse is looking for openings. He's not finding anything. And even when he does later on, when the teamfight progresses, he doesn't really have enough damage to have any shutdowns or anything solidified in this teamfight.
And Fateseal comes on forwards, and Bucci will eventually die at the back end of this orb, but not before doing a lot of damage. And Faetsky even gets to come back on over at the end of this and pick up an extra kill onto Diverse. Conan meets the respawning Nautilus, and there was already very few ways to get on out of here. Also call out that depth charge over the wall onto the Yone. As we go back to life, Rune Prison lands on Nodi, who will land a death sentence himself. Glacial Prison afterward is buffered out from well played though, puts Karpsky in a difficult position. Dandon will throw down the extendable monster cats and look for a bit more damage. Rune Prism again lands onto the Sejuani. It's bacon for breakfast, boys, but not before a Dark Lantern steals it away from the hungry, hungry mouths of DMG.
No bacon today. Sorry, not allowed. Instead of a bacon, how about you take some bricks from that turret on the top lane, and same actually for Diverse on the bottom. We have a little bit of a turret exchange here with a lot of gold going into Bucci and Faetsky's pockets, by the way, from the top lane. In the end, they get the first turret. It was a little bit of a race here between the top lane and the bot lane, but the first turret of the game goes into the pockets of DMG there on the top lane. And how is the game looking right now? Because we have a little bit of time before the next objectives are going to spawn. Rhythm, maybe don't do that. Thank you. How is it looking right now for both the teams? Because yet again, we have another game where DMG are in control from the very beginning of it. They are letting Kamsky die a lot this time, which is probably the biggest difference to me compared to DMG in the previous two games. But still, all the things are going according to the plan. They have items pouring in and all of the most important people. They have scaling on Bizgard going properly. 007 agent, by the way, with level 10. I can't read numbers for some reason today. We are seeing DMG that are strong in the moment, and with this team composition, naturally, they wouldn't be weaker than Rich Gang's composition at any moment in the game later on, which means it's up to Rich Gang to find those openings, but so far, it's only Noda who has been found.
It's been an inversion they've been opened up onto. Nodu trying to get out to safety, hit with another set of large cats. And unfortunately, Fatesky's there to killer instinct over the wall. Diverse will look to find a big fate sealed, but will die regardless. Can't bring anyone with him. Feeling a bit aggrieved about that one. Another turret will fall in DMG's favor.
Correction, it's not openings that Rich Gangs need to find. It's opening paired up with damage from their side. Because again, Diverse goes in, the idea is there, but the damage is not there. Does Conan have the damage though?
Oh, misses that public execution. Conan with the healing now from the Cosmic Drive proving problematic. The Eclipse shielding pretty decent, speeding on up. Flash on out of the Thundering Slam and the Stormbringer. As Conan gets some healing and backs away to safety, Bucci burns the flash and gets out alive.
The Herald is spawning pretty much right now, by the way, and I'm looking at DMG. In the previous 2 games, they were very quick to pick up that objective for themselves and had quite a good use out of it. I wonder if it's the case for them again, because I see some movement on the minimap towards it, and honestly, judging by the state of the map, especially with the outer turret going on the top lane, that should be 100% their Herald for the taking. And then we know what happens for DMG after that, right? It's the tale as old as the previous 2 games today. They get the Herald.
That's not time, is it? It's like only an
it's
evening,
like
really.
a little bit of time, okay? It's like
So it's not really that
bit.
old. It's like juvenile time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's
It's
probably
not
a better way
finished
to put
preschool
it,
yet.
but-
Yeah, there's got to be, but like it's tale as old as this evening. It's not really all of a
yes.
tale. It's like a sentence,
Yes.
a memo.
It's oh my god, you keep making it worse.
Bucci, no! The Bucci gang! He actually managed to slide away. That's
There's
not bad
no way.
going. Should surely fall and does. There we go. I got a bit worried when he began to dash around with those straight down
Yes.
steps, but alas, for him, cannot secure the escape. Diverse pretty low here, but has enough Verminion to get at least a couple chunks out here. The problem is their mid lane tier 1 is under siege, and Rhythm, despite starting the game 2-0, just hasn't been able to get involved over the last 5 minutes or so. They pick up that tier 1 all the while. There's Guard and Dandem shoving up on the top side, looking to get towards the tier 2 there as well.
To be fair, Rhythm still has a 1.6 gold lead compared to Faetsky, who is 6-0-2, which is insane if you think about it. But DMG are slowly but surely moving lower through the map, towards potentially that Herald finally taking it. They are going to lose the turret on the bot lane in the progress. Imagine how nice this could have looked and how faster this could have been if Diverse had the Void Grabs, but he only has that coming towards him.
Does at least get the turret, but will likely die trying to do it. Fate sealed over the wall, though. Buys enough time, and there's a lantern after.
Lantern.
The great escape.
Good, and right in time. This would be such an unfortunate time for Diverse to die, because we have a dragon spawning up in less than half a minute from now. And again, Rich Gang, despite all the losses on the map, are sitting on 2 dragons and a potential Hextech soul point. The Fate keeps giving them the opportunities initialize, and it's up to Rich Gang to take them, to secure them, and have a win condition. But for the second game in a row, it's going to be so hard for them to go for this soul point.
They might be Rich Gang by name, but they've been a little impoverished by nature this series. This might be the win condition, that stroke of fortune they need to make their name feel a little bit more apt. Mid lane, wave shoved in. Volibear gets that wave shoved towards that other side. Herald has been started by Dandem. Would be the objective marker for the feats of strength, and gets the full feats of strength for DMG. But again, whoever gets that next objective gets the upgraded boots. And we all know that strong feet win you games.
Who says so?
I do.
Ah,
And
okay,
I'm clearly a font of wisdom when it comes to League of Legends.
If you say so. Anyway,
I do. Look, anyone who can wear a wig like this on broadcast and get away with it clearly is a font of wisdom. There's no dude needs to flash away from the dredge line. That was nearly an unwise decision. Yes.
Dragon.
Yeah. What about that?
Do you
Is that
see? Are
important?
you seeing what I'm saying?
I
Shut
kind
up!
of.
It is very important. Yes. Shut up for a second and listen to me, okay? This is again Rich Gang having an opportunity, right? This game, they have been losing this game massively, and they don't kill Butcher right now. I'm sorry, they first, unless you want to. Okay, they killed Butcher there. Fine. What else?
Dragon comes on down. All the while, though, Rhythm loses his rhythm, and the steps are all wrong as he's room prisoned in place. Bizguard, Permafrost is trying to run away from the Sejuani. Dredge line, sidestep, room prison back on the other side as there's still a big skirmish happening. Nodu lands out that sentence, looking to find an angle over the wall with that dark passage. Nodu just about alive as the lantern comes toward him. Bizguard looking to lantern and fail. Rail walks them all out. Gets 2 out to safety. Hang on, not quite done. Come over the wall. About bless his soul! My voice goes a couple octaves too high. Death sentence lands, and the realm warp was only a brief cessation of hostilities. Another kill for Diverse, who goes on a rampage from 1-3 to 4-3.
There is no way they get out of that. Not they, okay, it's Peace Guard pretty much, but there is no way. Okay, listen. Peng, if you're watching, with all due respect, that is how you ult on a race, okay? Now back to this game. This is such an opening for Rich Gang, right? You need to try to go for this dragon. This doesn't happen, but what happens after that is a good sign for Rich Gang, because they finally have a good fight. They managed to split up the enemies quite a lot and pretty much take them down by one. Renewal, even though again he wasn't able to get to the dragon pit on time, is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. And it's also the fact that Faetsky has been removed from the fight rather early, having no summoner spells anymore, having no health to rejoin the fight, which is a big reason as to why Rich Gang were able to take so much out of this fight.
The Realm Warp didn't get them over the bottom of the Dragon Pit wall. They're going to look for a replay though. Rhythm goes down. Godlike is Faetsky. He was taken out of that last fight by Conan, but he didn't die and is looking to continue stacking up kill after kill after kill. Teleports come flying on through Diverse here. Now got the Mortal Shield, but he's a lot scarier than he was 5 minutes ago after that fight. Got him so many kills. Renewal now in danger. The cats go chasing him. Nodu in danger as well on the Thresh. The Chain Warden and Diverse finds an Active Fate Sealed. Picks up 2 and gets the shutdown. This Yone beginning to hunt for more. Conan comes screaming on forwards. The Stormbringer is here. Lightning strikes on forwards and they get another. Rich Gang, a massive turnaround play as the solo laners come in and bite back hard.
And possibly for the first time in the last games in the whole series, they are leading in terms of gold. This is looking good for Rich Gang. Let's go! I love this so much, especially for Diverse, because finally, this took him to get to 2 items, but finally he's feeling at his fullest power. He can go in, still play as aggressively as he did earlier in the game, but this time actually resulting that in kills for himself and for his team. And now, that is the Atacon on the bot side of the map that Rich Gang are taking for themselves. Taking an objective, a very good objective, taking some additional HP. They're losing the Herald in the process, which is really bad news because DMG are going to push through the lanes with the help of this Herald, but at least Rich Gang have gotten something for themselves, something to try to play from.
The issue will be that their solo lanes are in pretty dire straits. 3,000 gold lead for Diverse at 1.1 for the side of Conan. Very scary here with their item completions. Diverse unbinds his soul. Public Execution comes on down. Diverse just heals his way right back through it. Off the wave, and Bucci down that ultimate. Glacial Present lands. Bucci managed to buffer through it well enough with the Drakehound Stamp. Blast cones away, and should be okay. All the while, though, the rest of DMG pushing through mid lane, looking to get some value with that Herald as Nodu goes down. Nice ult from Faetsky, gets him in danger. Acathian Rain onto Rhythm. Kamsky lands the hook. Conan in danger. They'll lose one for it, but they bring down the big bear of the north, and they get the turret on top of everything else.
That is an interesting difference between the teams of a team that is playing towards kills versus a team that is playing heavily towards the objectives right now, which is a very correct time for DMG to be playing towards objectives because, as a reminder, right, as for the 3rd game in a row, a reminder, they have the grabs, they have the Herald, they have all the mins to push through the lanes, and yet again for DMG, the goal is to open up at least an inhibitor on the side of the enemy base. And with the top lane plus the mid lane being completely naked right now, this is going to be an easy task for them, especially since the timing is so good. Look at the timer, it's 43 seconds before the Drake is going to spawn, and that is the repetition of what we saw in the previous game, where DMG have released the Herald on the mid lane, buying themselves a lot of time and going towards the Dragon as a result. So here, quite possibly, we're going to see something very similar with them releasing the Herald and using that as a leverage to go and grab the 2nd Drake for themselves.
Counterweight Herald very much available, as you call out. Worth noting as well, a few item completions have come on through. I will note the Infinity Edge for Diverse in particular could prove very, very scary. Faetsky also at 3.5 items is no slouch either. Bucci's turned up trying to defend this tier 2, but I think he's being pretty wary, understandably, with the majority of Rich Gang around and there to help pressure.
So Rich Gang, interesting idea there to pressure to the top lane. Now they really need to recall because the MG keep pushing, and here finally comes the Herald to open up the bot lane for the team. This turret goes down. The next one is going to go down with the help of the Herald, and then DMG can either rotate also Drake or have a really nasty team fight with Rich Gang right here.
Dandem throws down the ultimate Nature Crash coming on forwards. They get the Rune Prison as well, and that means no dude will surely die. Nature Prison onto Dandem, is now in danger. Flashed on out with the Phase Rush. Herald finally gets on top of that turret. They'll be able to break down the inhibitor turret all the while, though. Diverse is in the enemy base, as Bucci had to flash on out and try and find a way to survive. He's going to clear out the wave, as Diverse is now proxy farming multiple waves. He's not even going to bother taking the Hex Gate. He's just recalling in the base.
You can raise the question here, actually, whether it would have been more beneficial for Rich Gang to have Diverse with them in that fight on the bot lane in order to try to get something to do, take somebody from DMG down and to take the soul point for themselves.
They're double teaming.
They're double team. Oh my god, yes. But now,
They're looking for the Baron.
Exactly. Now they're looking for the Baron.
Good ward. Needed to use that blue trinket there. That would have been a very ugly face check. The vision control around this Baron pit is all Rich Gangs. They've got wards in the blue side jungle. They've got wave shove up to the inhibitor turret in that top lane as well. It means the DMG do at least get to reset. The double TP keeps Rich Gang out here first and in position to potentially counter. Here we go.
Do we want the fight here in the choke point? Yes, so Stormsky.
And find the hook. There comes Dandem with the ultimate. Big chunk on the other side. Bizguard. Oh, they get a root though. Onto Diverse. He's dead. Cleanse from Faceky. Gives an opportunity to supercharge forward. Flash from Conan. Trying to get something back, but he's rooted as well. The root prisons keep on landing. It's magical purgatory for the entire of Rich Gang. A triple kill to Faceky. Puts him up to 14 kills. A quadra. Not quite the penta as one was stolen away. But that's enough to secure the series. Rich Gang, closest they found, don't get me wrong, but it will still be nowhere near enough. DMG close it out in commanding fashion.
And even though Rich Gang might have been taking some leads, especially in this game number 3, they just cannot compete with DMG, it seems. This team wants to go further through the bracket of the playoffs of NLC, potentially all the way to Copenhagen. Maybe that's going a little bit too far. We'll see about that, but today that is definitely the DMG that we were dying to see for so long.
Rich Gang taken for all they are worth, and DMG pick it up. It's done in style, it's done calmly. Perhaps calm Skyly, maybe that's the better pun, but either way, it's 3-0. Don't get me wrong, that was a much more competitive game. Better stuff from the solo lanes. We saw some better stuff in the fights, but in the end, it just felt way more confident. Solari, last words before we hand it to the desk.
Can see more from DMG. If they continue playing like that and drafting like that especially, I want to see more from that team.
Well, from your fake cosplayers here on the cast, let's head over to the desk, who are not fake analysts.
You sure? Hey,
You sure about that, buddy?
Coming in from DMG, looking clean as well. As Salati stated, drafts are looking good. In-game is looking good as well. Highlight to a few members from Rich Gang. They showed up, obviously, but DMG were just the better team today. From draft till the end of the game. I mean, we highlighted this. Foxtrot, I gotta give it to you. Faitsky was good.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. We got the trifecta. We got mid. We got top. We got Fateski. We got bot. Yeah, it was a better game from Rich Gang, to be honest. It was a better game in this game number 3, and they showed some really good moments. And to be honest, there were some fights where I was like, okay, we're gonna turn this around. And then I made the mistake, and I would like to apologize to Rich Gang and all the Rich Gang devotee. I started to believe, and I said to you guys here, I was like, this game's on Diverse. Like, he's playing really well. He can do this. It's on him. He's got this.
That's why you
30
jinxed it.
seconds later, that last team fight happened, and he's the first one to die. So yeah,
So you know who to blame.
That's a little bit on me. So I do apologize for that one. But up until that point, things were looking not too bad for Rich Gang.
But it's not only about Faitsky and the rest of the team. I think the Maokai was also pivotal, and Trouble, we were talking about it on a few team fights. Faitsky was allowed to do things because Maokai was stopping the backline.
Oh god. I feel like it's this particular fight, if I'm not wrong,
Yes.
that overextends towards the blue buff. I want your eyes on Dandom the entire time because he's guarding Faitsky with stuff, apart from here where he's diving too deep, right? But look at Faitsky, he's diving in. Dandom made the opener for him, and then the Q on the flash from Conan 3 to save Faitsky last second. How freaking clutch. So not only did he guard Fatesky at the beginning, very short range AD carry, he gave him an opener with the QE straight deep into the backline of Rich Gang and saves him. And this one, I think Fatesky was playing with Fate pretty much right there. Because the snapback from Yone could have very easily killed him. I think he had like 13 or 12 HP left or something like that.
Yeah, it was hella close. It was a tough one. A lot of these fights were really cool, though. Actually, I think that was a really entertaining game because this is what I love about two team comps that both want to jump in and go forward. Is when they both want to do the same thing, you get fights like that that are just scrappy, and then champions like Maokai, as you guys highlighted, can really shine when they're piloted well because suddenly they jump in, they go forward, they start plays, but they're also valuable at preventing the other team from getting in like that, right? So it's yeah, really good stuff from Dandem. I think he's been a bit of a non-flashy carry for DMG in this series for sure.
And on the lower bracket now, as we look into what DMG was capable of providing, they're looking like a serious team that can go all the way. Obviously, there are a few things we highlighted. Sometimes they overcommit, they don't think about what's going to happen after the fight. But I think as they clean their act up, this is a fearsome team to play against.
Yeah, look at Diverse, by the way. He eats to the side, so I'm like, oh, that's so sick. He jumps over the wall. Oh, it's great. It's called Bizguard. He's dead. He's donezo. He's in the Shadow Realm. He's put into the dirt, and that's it. It's a clean 5-0. It was good at times, but yeah, not all the time. And again, bro, I'm so sad looking at renewal stats, dude. I'm so sad because this is a guy. He's like, I think he's been the best player for Rich Gang, right? And they stuck him on boring crap jungle duty that just didn't work with him or his team. Like, shout out to Diverse for turning it around, but I don't think Rich Gang played to their identity in this series.
To go back to your point, Sharon, because you were saying about like the lower bracket, right? There's a bunch of teams I feel like still in the upper bracket who, of course, like two of them are gonna have to fall eventually down the lower bracket. And I feel like DMG might not have it all together yet, but they look so scary. And I think it's primarily due to their drafting. I feel like they have a pretty solid idea on what they want to play around each and every single draft. One time it will be Fatesky, the other time it will be Dandom, then it will be Biscuit, then it will be Bucci. I feel like they have such a multi-dimensional team in terms of who can carry each game for them. And it speaks miles on the fact that they've done so much homework behind the scenes to enable each and every individual pick that they choose to highlight.
I agree 100%. Two teams will fall next week, but if this team, DMG, are capable of cleaning up, I think they're serious in competition, and they could be one of the teams going into Copenhagen. I'm not saying they will, I'm just saying it's a big possibility. And from Winter Split until now, that would be a major upgrade to what this team can actually provide. They did a few changes. I was really impressed with the mid lane today. I was seriously impressed with the mid lane. And when you have like all those members shining up, Dandem, Fatesky, you know they're capable of doing them. Bizguard is capable of showing up like that. I'm just saying this is I love it. I love it. I'm being sold to the DMG, not hype train, just locomotive, you know, like a small car. I'm like taking it right, you know. I like choo-choo. It's a small choo-choo, but I'm dead.
Looney Tunes. I don't know what they're called. You might have to help me here, Foxy.
I think that is a locomotive.
Planks on top of the train racks, where you just keep like pushing up and down. There's like two people sort of like this.
What is that?
I don't know what that's
Fox?
called, mate. I don't know what
like
that's
old Looney Tunes style. That's what he's on. That's
you
what
guys
our is
older
on.
than me. You might know. Then maybe they're around in your time. I'm the baby at the desk. Like I don't know these things. I'm skibbity zibbity toilet Sigma high risk guy up in here. You know that's what I'm about.
Duckling is being
summoned
as we speak.
The self glaze on this desk is just kind of illegal. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm scared of you folks. I'm scared of you folks. Now, with this in mind, we're done. Rich Gang, we have to celebrate. Obviously, I think they tried to improve. They stated that they had new picks and Trouble, you talked about this. If you try to innovate too fast out of a sudden, with no time to properly like practice, things might not be clean. You said something about the cog. Maybe it was a missing cog.
I mean, there has to be a main cog in every machine, right? And either a lot of teams will choose to build around that, or they'll find different ways to enable that instead of playing around that. But I feel like DMG have done that perfectly. I mean, like every single time, particularly for Dandom, I think Foxy said he was the silent carry just because he wasn't on flashy champions, but like the team has chosen to play around him and his vibe plenty of times, and they've done this really, really well.
You know what? What a better opportunity to talk with him on the interview. On the winner interview of all. Welcome, Tandem.
Hello.
Hey, finally, you get into like Fearless Draft. You're only allowed to play Vi once. What's the main feeling about that? Are you happy? Are you
Well,
blessed?
I'm disappointed, I guess. I want to play Vi.
You want to play Vi? Like, that's
Yeah, of course.
your own decision?
Yes, of course. Who's gonna force me? I'm Serbian.
Congratulations to begin with. That was a clean 3-0, obviously coming from the upper bracket after LR to face off Rich Gang and to prove what the team is capable. Congratulations on that one. Tell me something. We were talking on the pre-game interview about preparation and Fate Ski being a little bit of a trash talk. How did you prepare for this series versus Rich Gang?
I mean, we didn't really prepare anything special. It was just normal scrimming. We had a really good time on scrims, and then one day before the official, we had a tougher scrim day. So I was like kind of questioning this day, what's gonna happen today. And you mentioned that we played like a clean 3-0, but me personally, I was really disappointed with many of my individual mistakes, and our team's like macro was just super disappointing, which I'm like taking a huge blame for. Like we were not very clean at snowballing the games, and it was rough to see. Like based on the last week Los Ratones series, we were showing good signs, promises to contest the league. But today we were playing against a weaker opponent, but the games were not as clean, as heavy snowball as they are supposed to be. So I will have to look into that, do some studying on that.
I actually see your point of view, but you also played the hero role with Maokai. Like there's a specific time where you saved your AD carry countless times. So when you look into the way the team has improved so far and what you stated, the way you're looking, showing promises versus LR through this lower bracket, you gotta be aiming for Copenhagen. It's looking good, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I'm coming to win this entire series, the entire tournament. That's all I want.
Even with Bucci.
Well, I mean, you have a point. You do have a point. I have to admit that. But even with Bucci, I think he'll be fine. You put him on some more silent duty, he will be fine.
Okay, jokes aside, when you look into the series, who would you pick as an MVP of the series? If you had to pick, you can pick it like you can pick your name. Like it could be Tandem.
The choice would be between mid or ADC. Now that I have to think about it, I would say my ADC. And also he had some personal beef with Dynami. I don't know what was that exactly, but I'm happy he got his revenge. Not sure what's the context of that. And I also want to give a shout out to Dynami top laner. He's my Hungarian brother as well. He played really good. He played a really good solid series, even though their team, I believe, didn't win a series. They went 0-4 in regular season. And then now they lost, but he still played really good. So shout out to him.
Final question for you as well. When you look into the upper bracket, you'll have to face someone. Of all the teams up there, who would you like to face next? Don't pick something because, oh, they're weaker. No, I know you're not like that. You're not built like that. You want to prove your worth.
I absolutely want revenge. Like when you ask this question, the Rudy, we went 1-1 against them. I don't really care. Bulldogs, we beat them. I don't really care. Los Ratones beat us, and they are the team to beat in this league. So I want to face them. Nord also beat us. We are 0-2 against Nord and Los Ratones as well. Those are the guys that I really want to beat. Those are the guys. And Chachi, especially because he hinted me in Baron Kupa, which is like a famous tournament. And then we had a huge altercation. He was hinting me on the invade, which is confirmed. He admitted to that as well. And yeah, that's it. I want to face those two teams. I'd rather personally face Nord first, but I want to revenge Osvaldo. That guy was just playing back-to-back Talia against me. He was invading me and then making a montage out of me. I want that guy back. Bring him back. I'll put him in the ground.
Okay, I like this. I really like this. Dan, congratulations on the series today. It was clean. Let's see what happens on the next round. Have a lovely one. Thank you so much for the interview.
See you guys.
He's out for revenge. He wants it. That's the thirst we need. Choo-choo. Hype train.
Hey, can I also like reveal something else? I was chatting to Fate Ski the other day on a stream, and he said, you know what? I cannot wait for Thursday so I can hate watch hybrid. They are friends. They're friends. Okay. Here's the context. They are friends, so they're bantering. But he said he's extremely hate-watchable. So there you go.
This is what we love. This is what we love. It's about being friends, but also attacking your friends. That's when you show real friendship, right?
True.
Foxtrot?
True.
Oh, absolutely. Like
I hate you.
Where?
With...
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding.
Cool.
But hey, with that in mind, I want to see the bracket. We were talking about possible opponents moving forward. There you go. It's going to be Venom Crest versus DMG. And if they're capable of winning, let's see who comes from the upper bracket to face them. Tomorrow we have Light Side versus Chaos. And the winner will have to face Verdant. The next week we go up to the upper bracket. And this was, yeah, there you go. This was the score of today. And tomorrow's going to be Light Side versus Chaos. On the next week we have the upper bracket. Yet again, it's best of 3. And that's going to be a fun one. There you go.
We're back.
LR versus
Okay.
Nord. Rematch. Bulldog versus the Ready Sec. Rematch. Rematch all around. I like this.
Woohoo! Okay. Honestly, next week is gonna be super fire because we've got the finals rematch. We also have Bulldog Esports versus Radisac, and Bulldog Esports are currently like 2-0 up right now. If we're talking split 1, winter split for NLC, so that's gonna be super fun to watch.
Also, who do you think was the MVP of the match? I know your take, Foxtrot. I know your take, Trouble, but it's about people back at
What?
home. Who do you think it was? Bucci?
Wait.
Bisgard? We were robbed.
Random is not even. What?
Robbed. Robbed.
Snubbed.
Dandom was robbed?
Well, it's up to
Okay.
you to vote. back
Okay,
at home.
Dandom, you're my MVP. I don't care what this graphic says.
I think this,
don't care.
in all seriousness, it is a trickier one to identify though, because I think everyone in each of the games kind of popped off in their own way, right? Bisgard popped off in game 1, Bucci popped off in game 2, Fatesky popped off in game 3,
And Dandom popped
was-
off in all 3.
Yeah, Dandon was good in all of them as well. I get that, but this is what I'm saying is like this is what's great about DMG, right? Is like all of them pop off. They all have the potential to pop off, so it makes them a hard team to play against.
And for now, DMG are looking to take it all, but to do that, they have to go through the lower bracket until they reach Copenhagen, which is at the end of May, by the way. It's your opportunity to buy a ticket. They're running out. They're almost dry. Finals, it's gonna be hard to get a ticket, so go onto that QR code and join us on Leagues Disrupt show. It's not finals of NLC alone. It's like a massive thing. I'm part of the planning. I'm just saying there's a lot of things going there, and Solari will be baking pastries for everybody. Keep that in mind. It's not real, by the way. I'm just saying. I
He's
don't
been
know.
finding
I
like
won't be
new jobs for everyone. We're just gonna show up to like properly like pass games or beat desk. He doesn't care. We're gonna be like baking, I don't know, like dusting the seats or like fixing the stage. Who knows?
I'm just hyped to see the t-shirts Foxtrot will be selling as well. I'm just hyped for that. You didn't know? Now you
Can
know.
I sell them out of a cannon?
Yes! You know what? It's a deal. I'm glad you actually have the sound effect for that.
You got it right.
that,
Yeah.
that was really good.
That's
that
it.
was really good.
Yeah.
Parting words for today before we head on to tomorrow.
Sorry, that was a question. I thought you were
Final-
about to say something. Yeah. Please do.
Final words for today. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
disappointed that we only got 3 games. Honestly, good for DMG, right? Because they were very decisive and very dominant. But we want more games, so I'm hoping tomorrow delivers. And the only way for you to find out is if you tune the heck in.
Nice. I have 3 things to say. 3.5. I got half my pinky out.
Wait.
All right. Thing number 1.
I'll use my pinky.
All right. Thing number 1. I feel like tomorrow is actually really hard to call, so that's going to be fun to watch. Thing number 2. Next week is going to be banging as well. Like it's all ramping up here. Thing number 3. Do I cook or do I get some fish and chips? It's still open for like another hour. I'm not really sure. I'm tempted. I'm super tempted to go get some fish and chips. Thoughts, feelings?
And Pinky?
What's the half?
Half will screw you, Archer, for saying that you hate me. So only half because I don't mean it. Because I don't mean
I
it.
still love you, but I don't have a chance so I can do that thing. With that in mind, tune in for tomorrow. It's going to be Light Side versus Chaos. We have no idea who's gonna win, but we know whoever loses is out. You're not out. You're always blessed to join us. We are blessed to have your company because this without you would not be the same. We love you very much. And until then, I'll see you soon. Keep climbing. Bye-bye. Ciao.